Hey guys, what is up? Happy Tuesday. I always have to remember what day it is for some reason. Wake up that same way too. I have no idea whatever day it is. But I hope you guys had a good one. It's Tuesday, right? A lot going on up here, even though it doesn't seem like it. Gabby, that is a nightmare. We are done with openings. I promise. Promise. Flashman, your favorite juror is just fine and not muted. But good try. I check it. I check it all the time. All right, so we are going to continue our coverage of the Betty Broderick trial. This trial took place in 1991, way back in the day. When I graduated, the year I graduated high school. Yeehaw. This is a retrial. First trial ended in a mistrial. And so we are back for round 2. And we spent 2 painful days going through openings. They were the that's not funny, Gabby. It would not be funny if I believed you and then muted myself. And may you never be muted, Flashman. But anyway, we spent, the state opening was 2 hours, and the defense opening was 1.5 hours of screaming. It wasn't screaming, but it did feel like he yelled at us, well, at the jury. And yeah, it's weird. It's 1991, so there's not big TV screens, with computers hooked up to them to show the jurors the images and the exhibits and all the stuff they want to do. The defense attorney, if you didn't see it, he had a big poster board behind him. It looked like something that I did in 8th grade science fair. It's probably why I didn't do very well, but it's okay. Didn't care. And he had, it really did look like something his kids put together for him the night before. He had pictures of Betty Broderick and her family mounted on this, and then the middle of it is the picture of a young Betty Broderick. And there were all these different angles and stuff. And as he's trying to make a point, he literally starts ripping down the pictures off the board. I'm like, you're not making the point you think you're making, because you haven't made the point yet. Like, you have not given us anything that says she had a reason to unalive 2 people. You just haven't. You haven't laid out anything. It just was like, okay, if we have to vote now, I'm not voting your way, sir. But we didn't. And fortunately for her. But so we are finally going to get into witnesses. And I've got to back up. Betty Broderick, this is a retrial. She's on trial for unaliving her ex-husband and his new wife of 6 months, Linda. That's basically the trial. That's basically what she was in trouble for. It was a very contentious divorce. Dan was a very powerful attorney. Betty says, I couldn't get attorneys. State says she fired several attorneys. It's a lot of, I think there was a lot of Betty felt rejected, understandable, hurt, understandable. Dan basically left her. Well, he did leave her for a woman that was 21. And um, Betty was pushing 40. So, she'd had 4 kids. She didn't look the same. Even her defense attorney was like, she doesn't look the same. She looks tired. She's old. Like, 40's not old, for one. And I guess if you're 20, it is. But it's not. But anyway, still, you can't get to unaliving because you're mad. You just can't because you're rejected. She did some crazy things. If the state can prove it, she was kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Hey, Ronnie, what's up? How you doing? And Flash fan, hate to tell you, but you'll be there in a flash. See what I did there? So I will warn you, not this first witness. There's nothing with this first witness. The first witness is Brian Forbes. He's an attorney. He was friends of Dan and Betty. He lived not far from them. So his testimony is about 40 minutes. And then we're going to go into some law enforcement testimony. The first 2 are just police officers that showed up. The first one, I'm sorry, is a police officer that showed up. The second one, I'm not exactly sure what his role was, because when he introduced himself, when I listened to that much of it, he just introduced himself as not just as a police officer, but not as a detective or a crime scene investigator or anything like that. They show some pictures. So one, I think, is an accident that they show, but they still show it. They didn't. So it is of the victims. It is, this is just, they just used to show this stuff back in the day before now we don't see anything. It's not like it's zoomed in super close up or anything like that, but you can see things. You can see blood. You can see, if they took a picture of the back, you can see those things. They are showing pictures of inside the house and the crime scene. So I just want everybody, and I'll remind you again, I'll put up a banner, do all the stuff. But I just want to, there is a point when the guy is showing pictures and they put a smaller picture in front of a picture of Linda, and the picture falls down, but they had zoomed in a little bit more, and Linda, when Betty hit her, when the round hit her, was in the back of the head. She's laying kind of on her side, face not quite all the way face down on the bed, and there's stuff. And it kind of caught the camera guy off guard. It caught me off guard. I haven't watched, I didn't listen. I was just going through because I was wondering if there was going to be anything else like that up, like going throughout the trial. I will tell you that I don't know if I'm going to do all of, we got 40 minutes of the first witness, and then when the second, third, and fourth, and fifth witness go, that's about 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I don't know that I'm going to do all of that. And I will tell you then, whatever we do, whenever we get to the medical examiner, that'll be another day of pictures. So, and I can't wait till you guys hear the medical examiner, because it's not funny. I'm not laughing. He is so dry. he was like, yep, like there's a, it's like almost like, yeah, there's a dead person there. Yep, I looked at her and stuff. He's just flat. It's kind of like, okay, and you're gonna take a long time to listen to. Hey, little one, how you doing? Hope you are doing well. So, all right, enough of all that. Um, we'll get on with this dude. Yeah, kinda. I think he might even be worse. He's yep. All right. Let me know how the sound is for everyone. I got closed captionings on. I will unmute this and we will get going with Brian Forbes.
Good morning. And sir, for the record, could you please state your full name and spell your last name?
Brian Lyle Forbes, Forbes.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Forbes.
Good morning.
Could you tell us what your occupation is?
I'm a lawyer.
And where do you work?
I work at Great Carey Ames and Fry here in San Diego.
That's a law firm here in San Diego?
It is.
And where are you presently living?
I live in La Jolla.
On any particular street?
It's at the corner of Calle del Oro and Calle del Cielo.
Do you know the defendant in this case, Elizabeth Broderick?
Yes, I do.
Do you live near Elizabeth Broderick?
Now?
I'm sorry, did you, back in 1989, live near Elizabeth Broderick?
Yeah, she was at the end of our street, about 4 doors up the street.
And before she moved into that house, did you know the defendant?
Yes, I've known her for about 15 years.
Did you also know Dan Broderick?
Yes.
Could you just describe for the jury briefly how it was that you knew Dan and Elizabeth Broderick?
When I was a second-year law student up in San Francisco, during the season when they bring law students to law firms to interview, I flew to San Diego with my wife, Gail, and Dan and Betty took us out to dinner. He was working with Great Carey Ames and Fry at that time, so we met them while I was working.
And then you were ultimately hired by that firm?
Yes.
Did you continue an acquaintanceship or friendship with Dan and Elizabeth Broderick?
Yes, we were close friends.
At one point, you were aware of the fact that Dan and Elizabeth Broderick separated?
Yes.
And after they separated, did Elizabeth Broderick move into the house there on Calle de Cielo?
Sometime after that, when they separated, they were living on a street called Avenida de las Ondas, which is about a block away, around the corner from where we lived at that time. They were living in a rental house while their coral reef house was being repaired. And while they were in the rental house, Dan moved out. And so she lived there for a while and then moved into the house up the street after we moved up there.
And did she continue to live in that house on Calle de Cielo up until November of 1989, as far as you know?
Yes, she did. But she also had a condominium in addition to that at that time, I think.
I want to direct your attention to November the 5th, the morning of November the 5th, 1989. Do you remember that morning?
Yes, I do.
Were you at home that morning?
Yes.
And sometime that morning, did a man named Brad Wright come to your house?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately what time it was?
It was shortly after 7 o'clock in the morning.
What were you doing at the time?
I was in my kitchen having a cup of coffee and reading the newspaper.
This was a Sunday morning?
Yes.
And who was Brad Wright, as far as you know?
He was Betty's boyfriend.
What happened when he came to your house?
I was sitting at the kitchen table when my wife, Gail, who obviously just woken up, came to the kitchen door and said that Brad is here. And I said, oh, and I got up and walked out to the living room where he was. And I said, hello, sit down. And he didn't sit down. I said, what's wrong? He said,
Your Honor, objection here, sir.
Your Honor,
It's foundational, go ahead.
he told me that he thought that Betty had shot Dan and Linda. And I said, why do you think that? And he told me that a friend of Betty's had called him on the telephone and told him that Betty had told that to her. He said that the woman who called him was named Diane Black. And I said, I asked him if he called the police yet, and he said no, he didn't want to call from the house where the kids were. He had spent the night at the street in her house with her.
When he was telling you this, what can you describe his emotional state?
He was clearly upset.
So it looked as though this was something he was obviously taking seriously.
Oh, yes.
What happened then?
I asked if he called the police. He said no, so I suggested that Gail immediately go and call 911 and get the police and get an ambulance over there just in case. And Brad and I continued to talk for a minute or so, and then we started to listen to Gail's conversation with whoever she was talking to at the police department. And it was clear to us that she couldn't persuade anybody to take her seriously because she didn't know anything of her own personal knowledge and didn't know the address of the house. And so I said to Brad, just in case it's true, we ought to go over there. Do you know how to find the house? And he said, yes. So I said, let's, just in case they're shot and bleeding, let's go and see if we can be of some assistance before the police get there. So we ran to his car and drove to Linda and Dan's house.
Were you driving or was Brad driving?
Brad was. I wasn't sure how to get there. Brad said how to get there.
And at this time, did Dan and Linda live at 1041 Cypress in Hillcrest?
I'm not sure the street address, but that's the street.
So you and Brad got in the car and decided to go over to the house.
Yes.
Describe what happened then.
During the trip over or after we got there?
Well, how did you drive over there?
Brad had a Porsche that was a pretty fast car. I was a little nervous driving over. He went awfully fast, and he didn't make any wrong turns. Got us right there within, I guess, 10 or 12 minutes. It was a pretty amazing ride. During the trip over, he said, we've got to find the note. And I wasn't sure what he was talking about.
Your Honor, objection, you're saying. Sustained.
Once you said you drove quickly, obviously there was some urgency and you got to the house. What happened when you got to the house?
When he pulled up in front, we both jumped out of the car and started to run toward the front door. I said, turn your emergency flashes on just in case the police have trouble finding him. And then we both got to the front door. I pounded on the front door with my open hand and yelled Dan's name and tried the doorbell, and there was no response. So,
If you could hold on just a second, Your Honor, may I have marked as People's Exhibit 1 a poster board which includes 4 8x10 photographs?
Maybe still marked.
Thank you. If, Mr. Forbes, if you could step down here for a second. If you should stand off to the side there so that everyone can see. Can you first for us just identify what the photograph that's marked A shows?
this is Dan and Linda's house from the street, essentially, looking at across the sidewalk and up the walkway toward the front door.
And what is shown in photograph B?
B is a closer view of the front door for the house. It's
And-
right here.
And you indicated that the first thing that you did was to go up to the front door and pound or knock on the front door.
Yes.
Now, obviously, in photograph B, the door is open. It was not open, though, at the time that you were there. Is that correct?
It was closing off. I tried the door after pounding.
Okay. You're going to have to make sure and speak up so that. So you rang the door, you knocked on the door. Did you get any response?
No.
What did you do then?
I suggested to Brad that he go around the house to the right while I go around the house to the left, and to see if we could find an open window or an open door or some way to get inside the house.
Did you do that?
Yes, I got about as far as where you can see here on the left, and I think there's a fence or something that made it impossible to go farther, so I ran back around the way he had gone, up the driveway toward the garage.
And is there a photograph that shows the driveway that you're referring to?
The photograph C is a closer view of the driveway, which is right here, going back toward the garage. And that's Dan's car from the driveway. So that's the way I ran back, and I found Brad in the back of the house, which is photograph D.
What happened then when you came around to the back of the house? Can you move back this way just a little bit so they can see?
When I got around the back of the house, Brad was standing,
I'll let you use that.
he was standing by a back door in this area. It's not that one, there's another door that faces, I think, that direction, maybe right here on the edge. He was standing by a door and someplace back there, and he said, "It looks like no one's here, let's leave." And I said, "Just in case something is wrong, let's not, let's break in." And I was about to put my fist through a window on that door, thought better of it. I had seen an open window, slightly open window that was screened off. I think it's one of these, might be this one, right here inside of the house coming up the driveway. It was screened, but the window was open about 3 inches. So I ran back over there and put my fist through the screen and was trying to undo the screen, but I'm not tall enough. I jumped up to hit it, I'm not tall enough to undo that screen, but Brad was, and Brad flicked it open and pulled it open, and I started to climb up through the window. He put his hand on my rear end and gave me a shove through the window, and I crawled across the top of the washer and dryer inside the house.
Why don't you just circle for us in red on the photograph, the window that you think it is that you climbed through?
It was definitely one of these windows. I think it was this one, the taller one. I should circle that?
Yes, go ahead. And for the record, Your Honor, he has circled a window that's on photograph D.
Thank you.
Once you then basically got into the house, is that correct?
Yes,
And you said over a washer and dryer, it was like a laundry room area?
yes.
What did you do then?
The second I got inside the house, I was yelling Dan's name and Lynn's name as loud as I could, thinking that they might be asleep, or they might be in bed together, or they might be hurt someplace. I was trying to find them. I didn't want them to be disturbed by having an intruder come into the bedroom, so I was yelling to them I was in there. And heard no response and was looking for a bedroom. I looked around quickly to downstairs, there were no bedrooms down there. I saw the dining room, the kitchen, and a study, and the living room, and it was moved diagonally toward the front of the house, and I came back inside the house near the front door.
Okay, hold on just a second. May I have marked Your Honor, it's People's Exhibit 2, another poster board that includes 3 8x10 photographs.
Maybe so much.
If there's anything on these pictures, but just be aware.
If you could take a look at those photographs, you indicated coming through a hallway, I think. Do you see that in any of those photographs?
I'm not very well oriented on this. I know this stairway is the one that comes down near the front door, and I came to the stairway from this direction over here. If you look at photograph B, showing the stairway, I came from the right side of that stairway. I turned and immediately went up the stairway.
So before we go any further, you're indicating a stairway, that's in photograph B, correct?
Yes.
And that's the stairway that's right inside the front door.
That's right.
And there's just a same picture of the stairway, but from a different angle in photograph C.
Here's the weakness.
Okay, and you indicated that you did go up the stairs.
Yeah, I ran up the stairs 2 at a time as fast as I could get up, and got to the top of the stairs, which looks like photograph A is the top of the stairs. And the first direction I turned was left toward the bedroom with the doors open.
Your Honor, may I have marked as People's Exhibit 3, a poster board which includes 2 8x10 photographs.
Maybe so, Mark.
And directing your attention to photograph A, which is at the top of the stairs, and the doorway at the top of the stairs. Is that the doorway that you're referring to?
That's the doorway to the bedroom.
What did you do then when you got to the top of the stairs?
I think by that time I wasn't yelling their names anymore. I think I just was going as fast as I could to find him. turned and walked into that room immediately. Saw the view that's shown here before I went in, and after I got inside the bedroom, I saw essentially what's shown in photograph B.
When you first look in the bedroom, then from the doorway, is this an accurate picture of what you can see of the bedroom in photograph B?
From the doorway, that's about what it looks like.
So from the doorway, without entering the room, you couldn't see the bodies at first, is that correct?
Not yet.
May I have marked as People's Exhibit 4, Your Honor, another poster board with 2 8x10 photographs.
Thank you so much.
Did you actually go into the room?
Sorry, didn't see this one. I will put up thy banner that makes this all better. I am so sorry. All right.
Yes, I did.
And what did you see when you got into the room?
The first thing I saw was Linda, who's on the bed here. And I saw Dan's foot in the position shown here in photograph A. And they were both greenish in hue, and just as they're shown here.
Did you do anything once you saw them?
I went over to Dan and reached down to his throat from this position here and put my thumb and fingers on his neck, on his carotid arteries right here, to see if I could feel any pulse. There was none, it was cold. And I did the same thing with Linda. And went back, I was down on my knees again. Next to Dan, when I sensed someone behind me turn around, it was Brad from the house.
Before we go any further, is the photographs that are in People's 4, A and B, is that an accurate picture of what you saw that morning?
Yes.
When, I take it when you touched the neck of Dan Broderick that you felt no pulse?
That's right.
And did you also check the pulse of Linda?
Yes. But I didn't reach over with my left hand, I just felt it with the back of my right hand. She was cold and green too, so she's obviously dead.
You indicated that you then felt a presence behind you and that it was Brad.
Yes.
What happened then?
I was a little startled, frankly, when I turned up and I said, they're both dead, let's go call them. And so we turned and started to leave. I think I paused for a second and looked back for a second or two, and turned and left, and we went downstairs. And by the time we got to the front door and got through it, there were 2 police officers coming up the walkway.
Other than checking Dan to see if he was alive and Linda, did you touch anything else in the room?
I touched him.
Touch any windows or doors or bedspreads or anything like that?
No.
When you bent over to feel Dan's neck, did you see anything on the floor next to his mouth?
Yeah, there's a puddle, a pool of what looked like regurgitated cookies and cream ice cream, but I think it was probably saliva and blood. Like he essentially been aspirating the saliva and blood out of his mouth for some time.
You indicated that you left, you went down the stairs and the police were there at that point.
They were just coming up the wall.
What happened then?
I told them that the people that live in the house are both dead. I'll show you where they are. And they went inside the house and we were walking slowly up the stairs. And for some reason, I felt some urgency to get them faster. So I ran past both of them up to the doorway and showed them where the bodies were. And police went inside and were looking at them and getting, I guess they were trying to tell if they were dead or not too. And I stood there looking at that for 5 or 6 seconds. And I said to Brad, I guess we can go way outside. And he said, yeah, do that. But don't leave, wait on the sidewalk, I want to talk about the view and stuff. Yeah, I went down, waited outside.
Okay, you can go ahead and take a statement. Did you then wait outside the house for some period of time while the police were there?
Yes, we did. We went to Brad's car, and I used his telephone. He had a portable cellular telephone in his car. I called my wife to tell her that they were dead and to go and get the children and get them in a safe place.
What children were you talking about?
Danny and Rhett Broderick, who were living up the street with Betty, or they were spending the night there with Betty.
And as far as you know, did Gail go get Danny and Red?
Yes. I didn't find that out until I got home, which was a couple hours later. But they were there when I got here.
And who was it that broke the news to Danny and Red?
Gail and I did together. When I got to the house, Brad dropped me off at the top of the driveway, and I walked down, and they both knew that he'd been shot, and they asked me if he was dead, and I said, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if I should be the one to tell him or someone else should. And I went and found Gail, and I said,
Your objection narrative is irrelevant. Sustained.
to answer your question, Gail and I told him within a few minutes after that.
Pretty sure he knows what the judge means by sustained, and he answered it anyway.
You
Okay.
were inside the house on the stair area. Did you happen to notice the telephone?
Yeah, I noticed the telephone at the top of the stairs as I went up, but I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. There was a telephone there that was obviously not usable, but I didn't think anything about it until Brad and I were leaving. I looked again at the phone to see whether or not it could be plugged in or something, but the wires were torn and frayed, and it was useless as far as I could tell. At that point, he said he had a phone in his car.
Did you touch the phone at all or move the phone from where it was?
No.
I have no further questions.
Cross it down. Mr. Forbes, you indicated that Elizabeth Broderick had a home just some doors down from you.
Yes.
Okay. And she also had a condominium.
That's my understanding.
Okay. Now, the home down the street was for sale, was it not? 1989?
I'm not sure if it was or not. I guess it was.
Okay. You don't, when you say you're not sure, is that you don't remember, or you just never knew whether it was for sale?
Now that you mention it, it sounds correct that it was for sale.
And you knew she had just purchased a condo, didn't you?
I'm not sure when she purchased it. It was a recent acquisition of hers, I know.
But as far as you knew, did you know whether she was moving from her house to the condo at that time?
Objection, Your Honor, beyond this floor. Objection.
On what basis, Your Honor?
Down scope as whether she was moving.
In, had you seen her, you didn't see Elizabeth Broderick on the 5th of November, did you?
No.
Did you see her on the 4th?
I don't believe I did.
Now, you indicated that you were a friend of both Dan and Elizabeth Broderick,
I considered myself to be.
and if I'm going to show you what, and not, Your Honor, I'd ask this to be marked as Defendant's A. Here's to be a picture of the defendant and witness.
8x10 color photo,
Yeah.
Mark's pen and say.
Do you recognize that photo?
I've never seen it before as far as I know, but I recognize the scene.
And that was a summer camp called the Hair of the Bear.
Actually, the lair of the bear.
There of the Bear, that you were with Elizabeth Broderick's family.
Yes.
Okay, that was the time that you were not with Dan or with Dan?
Your Honor, I'm going to object as beyond the scope. Counsel indicated he was just going to have an identified photograph.
Overruled, say he was there.
I don't know what you mean by with Dan or
Do you remember if he was there? Do you remember ever going with him there?
the lair of the bear.
Yeah.
I don't recall him ever being there.
Now, you said that you were a friend of Dan Broderick's. Were you a close friend of Dan Broderick?
I think so.
And were you closer to him than Elizabeth Broderick?
After they separated, I guess I saw a lot more of Elizabeth than I did of Dan because she was a neighbor and was at our house every week. We were at her house regularly too.
And during the time that Elizabeth Broderick was living down the street from you, were your kids visiting, children visiting in her house?
Your Honor, again, objection at this point beyond the scope.
Sustained.
Now, when Brad Wright came over and gave you the information, you listened to your wife call on the phone to the police, is that correct?
That's right.
Did you give your wife Dan Broderick's phone number?
I didn't have his phone number.
And did you give your wife Dan Broderick's address?
I didn't know his address.
Did you give your wife directions to get to Dan's house?
She knew how to get there. I wasn't sure how to get there. I'd been there twice before. I could have found it, but it would have taken me probably a few wrong turns to find it.
Now, the time that when you went to Mr. Broderick's house, you indicated that Brad Wright was in the car with you?
He drove the car. Yes.
At any time when you first found the house, did you then call the police again and indicate what the address was before you went into the house?
No.
Okay. Now, when you arrived at the house, you knew where you then became aware of what the address was, did you not?
Yes.
And where did you park when you came to the house?
Directly across the street.
Was there a reason you didn't pull into the driveway?
I'm not sure that the driveway was capable of being pulled into. There's a gate there. The gate might have been closed. I don't remember that.
But for some reason, you parked out on the street instead of parking in front of the house, is that correct?
Brad parked the car. I was in the car.
Now, you then went to the front of the house and you indicated you banged on the door, is that correct?
Yes.
Were you aware of where their bedroom was?
No.
Okay. So did you ever ask Brad where their bedroom was?
No.
Did you shout to them at all?
Did I shout?
Outside the house, did you shout at the windows?
I shouted at the door. I didn't direct my voice at any particular window.
Now, during the time that, did you ever notice whether there were dogs in the house? Were dogs on the property?
I never saw a dog.
Did you ever hear a dog?
No.
When you went around to the back of the house, you indicated you went one way and Mr. Wright went the other way.
I started to go to the left. I couldn't make it around to the back on the left, so I went back around the right driveway the way he had gone.
Now, when you, the window that you found that was open, was it on the left or on the right as you're facing the house?
As you're facing the house, it's on the right, on the driveway side.
Okay, so it was on the opposite end of the house, is that correct, from where you first started?
No, it was on the side. It was on the first side that you come to as you walk around the right side of the house.
Okay. So the side that Brad first went around, you went around the left, he went around the right. Is that correct?
I didn't make it very far on the left, but we both went up the driveway side on the right, yes.
Did you both go together?
No.
Okay. And it was on your way to the backyard that you noticed that there was an open window?
Yes.
And when you went to the back, did you go through a gate at all?
No. Well, let me say, when you say a gate, there's some structures around there. I'm not sure what you mean by a gate.
Okay, was there, to get to the back door, was it gated at all, the yard around it?
No. I don't think
And it was open? I mean, there was, you didn't have to open a gate to get from the side to the back door at all?
Not that I can remember.
And when you went to the back door, again, you found that to be locked
Yes,
and no windows open?
correct.
At any time after you entered the house, did you come to, was there a bedroom situated near the back door?
Now, their bedroom is upstairs. You have to go toward the front of the house, then back toward the middle and back of the house to get to the bedroom. So I'm not sure if it's closer to the front or the back. I just don't know that.
So you never became oriented towards whether their bedroom was in the front or the back of the house?
I didn't pay much attention to that, no.
And then you went upstairs, is that correct?
I did, yes.
And as soon as you saw the people, you realized that it appeared that they were dead?
That was my first impression.
Okay, now you didn't move anything at all, the bodies at all, I take it?
That's true.
And you indicated that you then went with Brad down to call the police, is that right?
Yes,
Now, at the time that you went down, do you remember talking to a police officer? Downstairs?
as I testified a minute ago, it was outside.
And do you remember it being a female police officer?
There was one female and one male.
Do you remember telling the officers that they should hurry up and get an ambulance?
No.
Okay, did you ever tell them that, or you didn't tell them that? Do you remember whether you did or did not?
I remember telling them they're both dead. I'll show you where they are. I don't remember ever discussing an ambulance.
And so it's your memory that definitely, it's your opinion, at least your memory now, definitely you did not tell them anything about an ambulance.
That's correct.
Were you upset at that time?
Yes,
You indicated that you noticed the telephone that was on the top of the stairway. When did you notice, when you went into the bedroom or when you came out?
I noticed it before going into the bedroom. As I was coming up the stairs, I saw it at the top of the stairs on the landing. I just glanced at it and kept on going. Didn't register that it was anything but a telephone that wasn't usable.
Now, I take it the reason you didn't know when you got to the top of the stairs which one the bedroom was, is that correct?
Which one of the two doors
Yes.
was their bedroom? No, I didn't know.
Okay. Was both doors open, or do you remember?
I don't remember.
But you just remember going into an open door.
I remember the one on the left was open, and that's the way I went first.
Now, you indicated that the telephone wires were frayed. Did you pick up the telephone to see that?
I didn't touch it, no.
And how did you notice that the telephone wires were frayed?
Just looking at them as I came back out of the bedroom, I could see that that phone was not going to be very useful to us. It was not usable.
Were you able to, how was the cord? Was there a long cord around the telephone, a short cord?
I don't have a distinct recollection of how long it was.
Was the cord wrapped around the,
Objection, Your Honor, I think we just gotta give it a distinct recollection.
I'm just gonna ask that overall. If you remember.
I don't remember if it was wrapped around it or not. I don't recall that it was.
okay, showing you what you've been showed once, People's Exhibit. Two. Do you see a telephone in A on two?
Yes, I do.
And is that your memory of how the phone looked, or are you just not sure?
That's generally the way I remember it, but I can't say if that's exactly the way it was or not. It looks the way I remember it.
The, you remember what time that you left your house in the morning?
In Brad's car,
Yes.
my best guess would have been that it was 7:20 or 7:30, someplace in there.
And you have no memory at all of making any phone calls between the time you left in Brad's car until you arrived, up to the time that you arrived at Mr. Broderick's home?
Me personally?
Yeah, do you remember either one of you making a call?
No, neither one of us used a telephone from the time he walked in my door until we got to Dan and Linda's house.
The, after the homicide in this case, did you get involved with a group of people that wanted to assure the conviction of Elizabeth Broderick?
Objection. It's beyond scope.
Sustained.
Might be heard, Your Honor. There's a motive and bias.
No, go ahead. Call as your own witness if you want.
Are you Irish, Mr. Forbes?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
What? Did he just ask if he was Irish? Surely not. Surely I misheard that. Please tell me I misheard that.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Thank
Redirect.
you.
Just briefly, Your Honor.
You.
Mr. Forbes, did you indicate that Brad Wright had a phone in his car, one of those cellular phones?
It was in his glove compartment, yes.
But your recollection was that on the way over, you didn't make any phone calls.
That's right.
At that point on the way over to the house, I take it you didn't know for sure whether they had been shot or killed or what the circumstances were.
That's true.
And I take it that after you did find Dan and Linda, you were fairly upset, perhaps even in shock. Is that fair to say?
I don't think I was in shock. I was upset.
And you don't have a clear recollection of exactly what you might have said to the police officers when they arrived at the
Your
scene.
Honor, I object. It's leading and it's.
Sustained.
Do you have a clear and exact recollection of what you said to the police officers? Might you have said, call an ambulance, get help?
That's possible, but I doubt it. I just don't think I would say that.
And it was the cellular phone from Brad's car that you used afterwards to call your wife, Gail?
I think cellular phone is the right term. This is not the kind that is in a car. It's the kind you can put in your pocket. And it had batteries, and the batteries weren't very good, so it was cutting out. But that's the phone I used to call Gail.
It wasn't a phone inside the house.
That's right.
Thank you, nothing.
Recross.
Mr. Forbes, do you recall when you were questioned on cross by myself, indicating that you were sure you didn't ask for an ambulance?
Right, I don't believe you testified to that. I object.
Sustained. It's argumentative.
What is your memory at this time? Is your memory that you know that you did not tell them you wanted an ambulance? Is your memory that that's possible?
It is possible that I said something about an ambulance, but my recollection of what I said is, as I testified before, I recall saying, they're dead, I'll show you where they are.
I have no further questions.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it is crooked. I just noticed it's too, Laura. I got to get the next video. Ah, I swear that defense attorney was just crossing his things he had to do that day off his list because he had 0 questions to ask. I apologize that those pictures were on there and I did not catch them. I have it marked on my stuff on this one. So I will catch it. But those are probably the worst. The one they showed really close that I said they didn't show till next time really close, that's the one I was talking about. So now you've already seen it. Now you know. Ding, 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 ding. The more you know. Whatever. But I do apologize for catching you off guard. It caught me off guard. All right, so I probably should add this back. We're gonna chat. We got Officer. I'm not even trying to say his last name. And then we have 2 officers. I'll just say that. All righty. I don't know. That was so weird. Are you Irish? I thought maybe maybe I had heard it wrong, that the closed captionings got it wrong, because there was a lot of stuff the closed captionings got wrong in there. Like when he asked if the attorney said he was in shock, the closed captioning said, "No, I don't think I was in shark." I was like, but then the guy on stand kind of sounded like he had a little Boston accent going on there for a minute. So he was like, shock. And AJ, it's knowing and half the battle. And knowing's half the battle, G.I. Joe. Oh my goodness. What? Hello, Adair. Sorry, we can't put them up. They're funny. We have random Gabby voice text coming in because she's yelling at somebody on the street by her house. Oh, it's okay. It stays in StreamYard. I still have them, Gabby. I still have them. But don't worry, I will not put them up there. Thank you for deleting them, though. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since that's happened, Gabby. That's so funny. All right, let's get on with this one. I'm good to see how time goes. I know I'm not doing a very good job at the moment. I'm really trying to not stop these very much. If we can get through this video, that'd be great, but I don't know that we can. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. So, strong as you can. I just want to adjust that mic up just a little for you. There you go. Thank you.
And officer, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Dominic Vallely, Valaile.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, how are you employed?
Police officer with the city of San Diego,
How long have you been working in that capacity?
about 2 years now.
Do you recall back in November 5th, 1989, at approximately 7:30 in the morning, which was a Sunday, being on patrol with your partner, Lisa Cook?
Yes,
And at that time and that date, did you receive a radio call to respond to a possible homicide at 1041 Cypress
yes, I
in
do.
the city and county of San Diego?
Yes, I do.
Is that in the Marsden Hills neighborhood of Hillcrest?
Yes, it is.
And did you and your partner, Lisa Cook, then arrive at the scene?
Yes, we did.
You're both in the same patrol car?
Yes.
When you got there, what did you see?
There were 2 men coming out of the front door of the house, and one of them asked us to call an ambulance.
Do you recall the names of these 2 men?
I believe it was Brian Forbes and Bradley Wright.
Did you happen to recognize Mr. Forbes as one of the gentlemen leaving the courtroom as you came in?
Yes, I did.
And you recall what specifically Mr. Forbes or Mr. Wright told you when you approached them?
That's the first thing they said was call an ambulance. There's 2 people up in the bedroom that had been shot.
Do you recall which of them said that?
No, I don't remember.
And what did you do in response to that?
We asked them to show us where the bodies were.
And did they?
Yes, they did.
Tell us how that happened.
We walked into the house, went upstairs, and went into the upstairs master bedroom. And after we had found the bodies, we asked the 2 men to leave.
When you first entered the master bedroom and the upstairs of the residence, what did you see?
I saw a female laying on the edge of the bed and a white male laying on the floor beside the bed.
What were their conditions as you observed them to be?
They were dead.
How did you find that out?
I went and checked their pulse on both the victims.
And where do you do that on the bodies?
On both of them, I checked the pulse in the carotid artery in the neck.
And what did that indicate to you?
There was no pulse. Both bodies were cold.
Did you move the positions of either body as you checked on the carotid arteries of both of them?
No, I didn't.
What did you and Officer Cook do next?
We then checked the rest of the house for any other victims or possible suspects, and that we didn't find anything else in the house.
Didn't find anybody else inside the house at that time?
No, we didn't.
In your check, did you or Officer Cook move anything or disturb anything in the house?
No, we didn't.
Did you touch any windows or window shades?
No.
The doors of any nature?
To open doors, we touched doorknobs. Other than that, no.
After you made the search, what did you do at the scene?
We then closed up the house. We went outside and didn't allow anybody else in until the homicide unit arrived.
That would have been Homicide Team 6?
I don't remember which team it was.
That would have been a number of detectives that's attached to the homicide squad?
Yes.
And until they arrived, is it fair to say you allowed nobody to go in or out of the house?
Yes, that's correct.
And while you were making your search, Mr. Forbes and Mr. Wright were outside the residence?
Yes, they were.
And you didn't observe them to touch anything inside the residence, did you?
No, I didn't see them touch anything.
I will show you what has been already marked as People's Exhibit 4. Are you familiar with what's in those 2 photographs labeled A and B?
Yes, those are the 2 bodies that were in the upstairs master bedroom.
And is this a fair and accurate representation as to both of these photographs of the position and condition of the bodies when you first came into the master bedroom with Mr. Forbes and Mr. Wright?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Chair.
Watch them.
Officer, you remember one of the people telling you to call an ambulance, is that correct?
Yes.
Did either one of them tell you that people were dead up there?
No.
So you knew someone was hurt, but you had no idea that people were dead, is that correct?
That's correct.
And who led you upstairs?
Both the gentlemen that were outside.
Okay, did you follow them, or did they tell you where to go?
We followed them upstairs.
Okay. Did they appear to be upset?
Yes, they did.
Okay, and were they running upstairs?
Yes.
And during that, you indicated that after you checked the bodies and believed that the people were dead, were the 2 people still in the house?
No, they weren't.
Okay. When did they leave?
After we arrived upstairs in the bedroom, I asked them both to wait outside.
Okay, so as soon as you arrived in the bedroom, you asked them to go outside?
Yes.
And did you check the scene, did you check the house for any other people in the house?
Yes, I did.
Did you check the house to see if there was any break-ins or?
I was more concerned about other people. I really didn't check for break-ins.
Okay. Did you check for any weapons? Or was it just people that you were?
Just people that I was looking for.
Okay, so you wanted to make sure there was nothing that presented a danger to you or anyone else, and then you were going to secure the scene.
Yes, sir.
And so I take it that you did not do any investigation other than just to search various rooms in the house, just make a quick check of the house, make sure there was no one there.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Was your partner, you know what your partner was doing while you were checking the people?
She was standing right there beside me.
When you say the people were coming out the front door, were they already out the door when you were pulling up, or did they already, or were they just opening the door and coming out?
From what I remember, the door was already open and they were walking out of the door.
Did you find any pets at the house?
I don't remember any pets, no.
No further questions.
Redirect.
None, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mayor. This witness is excused.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Burkoff.
No objections.
Thank you very much. You're free to leave.
And officer, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
It's Terrence DeGelder, Degelder.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Can you tell us what you do for a living?
I'm a police officer with the city of San Diego.
And what particularly do you do with the San Diego Police Department?
Right now, I'm in charge of the northern area beach team. I'm a sergeant.
As a supervisorial position?
Yes,
Prior to being a sergeant, were you a homicide detective in, say, November of 1989?
yes, I was.
At that time, how long had you been a homicide detective?
Approximately a year.
And overall, how long have you been a police officer?
Been a police officer 18 years.
Calling your attention, Sergeant DeGelder, back to November 5th, 1989. Do you recall approximately 8:15 on that day receiving a call to respond to a double homicide at 1041 Cypress Street in the city and county of San Diego?
Yes, I did.
And did you go to that area?
Yes.
What was the weather condition when you were en route?
It was a cloudless day, about 70 degrees. Streets were dry.
And you arrived at approximately 8:45 that morning?
Yes,
Were you at that time part of a homicide team 6?
yes, I was.
Tell us about the homicide team concept.
Well, each homicide team is, when we get dispatched to a homicide, we divide up the work. Some officers detectives will interview witnesses, suspects, and one will be assigned to the crime scene. And I was assigned to the crime scene that morning.
And that being the Dan and Linda Broderick residence at 1041 Cypress?
Yes,
Now, I take it Team 6 was the homicide team that relieved Officers Cook and Belaley, who were securing the scene at that point?
yes.
And when you arrived, what in particular did you do?
I went to meet my sergeant, Jerry Calloway, and the two patrol officers that were dispatched to the scene.
And at that point, were you briefed briefly, I guess, on what had happened?
Yes,
What did you do next?
I entered the crime scene with my sergeant. Went up upstairs and took a look around and then came back out.
Did you enter the master bedroom at the top of the stairs?
Yes,
What, if anything, did you see there?
there were two people apparently shot to death. One was on the bed and one was on the floor.
Now, are you aware of a videotape of the Dan and Linda Broderick residence being made approximately 2 weeks after the homicides?
Yes,
And does this videotape accurately and fairly show the condition of the residence as it was when you entered on November 5th, 1989?
yes.
Are there any changes in the videotape compared to what you saw when you entered the residence on November 5th?
Well, of course, it doesn't show the bodies, and some items of evidence are missing.
So the scene was essentially cleaned up before the video was taken?
Yes.
Now, I think with the court's permission, we can roll the video at this point. Sir, go ahead. Thank you. I don't think this is going to leave us in the dark, Your Honor. Now, Sergeant McGillick, could you come off of your seat here? I'm going to start the video, and you can just narrate. You need a pointer. Here's a pointer for the jury. You can stand to the side so all the members of the jury panel can see that. We'll start this up.
I don't remember if there's anything in this video, so I'm just gonna turn on the warning just in case.
Technical difficulties, Your Honor.
Why don't you show it or tell us what's being shown at this point?
This is the front of the house at 1041 Cypress. The driveway going down. This house faces the north.
Can all the jury members see?
This is the view from the front door. Directly north. This is Cypress Street out there. It's the driveway on the west side of the house. The back door on the south side. Leads into the kitchen. This door there is just a room right off the kitchen. Where's the kitchen? Bathroom. This is the view of the front door. It's a staircase moving upstairs. It's a landing on top of the stairs here. That window faces south. This door here leads into the master bedroom. That door there leads to a whole patio, outside patio. That's their bed.
Is that the position of the bed as it occupied that room when you first viewed the bodies on November 5th, 1989?
Yes. And this is down the hallway, going north of the hallway. There's a room here, There's just like a TV room that's on the other side of the master bedroom. And the TV room. You go right here from this door, and you're back into the master bedroom. There's an entertainment center, TV and stereo with that. And this is the door going out of the master bedroom back in the hallway, up the stairs. And down the stairs to the front door. The left, this way is the dining room. If you go right, you go into the living room.
Thank you. Why don't you resume the seat, please?
They are seriously trying to like blow my eardrums. I was laughing because the CC said, "Thank you, Vice President." Oh my gosh! I want to take that person out of their seat. It sounds like a dog having horrible things done to it.
Somebody, should we just take this out of the courtroom? That's fine.
Now, Sergeant DeGelder, is it fair to say that part of your job as a homicide detective at the scene to supervise and direct the photographing of the scene?
Yes,
And did you do that in this case?
yes.
Tell us how it is that you go about photographing the homicide scene.
Well, we start at the outside of the house, and the evidence technician takes overall photographs of the outside, and then we work our way inside, photographing inside the house, and then up to the bedroom, and then we photograph everything in the actual crime scene.
And when you're doing this photographing, is this before anything is touched?
Yes.
Colonel, I have a poster board with 3 8x10 photographs taking interior shots of a residence. I would like to mark people's next in order.
People's 5.
Thank you. I suppose it might be better to go down here. You don't mind standing for a while, do you? Okay. Can you tell us what A on People's Exhibit 5, the next?
This is a hallway on top of the stairs, and it leads to that TV room I mentioned in the video, off to the right. And this way is to another bedroom.
And
The landing and the door to the master bedroom. So
Okay, is it me? Sorry. Or is that a hallway like very, 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 very narrow? It seems so, and I kept looking at it like if it was just the angle of the picture, but I don't think it is. All right. I do know that there's some pictures coming up here soon, so just beware.
before this.
Can you point, where that would be?
Well, the here.
Right at the margin of the photograph on the
Yes.
right-hand side as you look at it. Now, what about photograph B? What does that depict?
Well, this is the view that you would get when you walk through this door. This is the TV room and the master bedroom.
And when you say this door, for the record, you're pointing to photograph A and the door that's next to these lights that are on in the hallway.
Yes.
Here I have a single 9x11 square photograph of an interior shot of a residence. I like that. Marked People's Exhibit 6.
Yes, I so marked.
And I'll show you People's Exhibit 6. Are you familiar with that particular shot?
Yes.
What is that?
It's the this door here on photograph B that leads into the master bedroom.
Okay. And what about on People's Exhibit 5, photograph C?
This would be the view when you enter from the TV room into the master bedroom. This would be that view.
And tell us about the windows that are shown in that particular photograph.
These windows are on the south wall. Facing south.
Now, looking at the condition of the shades and the curtains, were those the condition of the shades and curtains when you first came into the master bedroom that morning of the homicide?
Yes.
Were they in the same position as they are shown in photograph C?
Yes.
Are all these photographs a fair and accurate depiction of the 1045 Cypress homicide scene when you were there on the 5th of November?
Yes.
This is what happens when you have too many photographs. Now, this is already labeled People's Exhibit 3, man. That's why I said find that another number on it. but are you familiar with what's depicted in those two photographs? And starting with the top one.
The master bedroom right at the top of the stairs. We went in that door. This is a view.
And B would be a view as you enter the master bedroom from the door that would be at the top of the stairs.
Yes.
Could you move a little bit? I think we'll have some Jersey lights. Tell us about the windows that you see in both of these pictures.
What's the door?
And the condition of the window shades and curtains. Well, there are none in that particular view. The exact condition of the window at that point?
Yes.
When you came in on November 5th?
Yes.
Now, you identify for the jury People's Exhibit 1 specifically,
Yes.
and can you, using, let's say, this black marker, circle the two south-facing windows of the master bedroom that Dan and Linda Broderick got? And did you also make an inspection of the exterior of the residence for any signs of forced entry?
Yes.
And what did your search reveal?
Well, we found there was forced entry at this window here, depicted in photograph D, circled in red here. And that's the window we were reading that Brian Forbes entered initially.
Did you find any other evidence of forced entry besides that particular window?
No.
Now, did you recover any bullets from the homicide scene?
Yes.
Where were those bullets recovered?
He found one in the on a landing outside the bedroom. He found one in a nightstand. He found one underneath Dan Broderick's body and one underneath Linda Broderick's body.
I'll show you what has been previously marked as People's Exhibit 4. Is this the condition of the bodies when you viewed them when you first came upon the bedroom on November 5th?
Yes.
And after you viewed the bodies and took the photographs, did you then remove the bedclothes from the bodies?
After the bodies are removed, yes.
Prior to the bodies being moved or afterwards?
After.
Was there a time before the bodies were removed that you took the bedclothes off of them?
Yes.
And I'll show you People's Exhibit 7. Does this show the position of the bodies after the bedclothes were removed, but prior to the bodies themselves being moved in any respect?
That's correct.
Could you move back just a little bit so the jurors can see that? And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the position of the bodies before they were moved in any respect, but after the bedclothes were taken off of them?
Yes.
Sorry, I warned you.
For the record, that's one photograph.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yes, that's 1 8 by 10 photographs. Thank you. Now, in the bedroom, did you then see certain items and process them into evidence with the aid of your evidence technician?
Yes.
For the record, I have a poster board containing 8 by 10 photographs. I like that mark People's 8. Are you familiar with the items that are depicted in People's Exhibit 8?
Yes.
And does this show the position of various items of evidence prior to them being moved, processed into evidence?
Yes.
There's a fair and accurate representation as to all 8 photographs of the position of the various items that you subsequently seize and process into evidence.
Yes.
Now, you talked about the 4 body bullets that were recovered from the scene. Can you now, using People's Exhibit 8, show the jurors where those bullets were found?
Sure. Here's the first one that went through the wall of the bedroom, ended up in on a landing against Richard B. And the second bullet that was covered was Richard G on the bed.
Was that on the bottom sheet that you're talking about?
Yes.
Did you, at some period of time afterwards, as you were processing the scene, remove the top sheet of the bed and look at the mattress pad that was underneath the top sheet?
Yes.
And what, if anything, was there in the mattress pad that you observed?
It was a pearl in the mattress pad.
Was that at the was the bullet that was recovered under Linda's body near that pearl?
Yes.
Now, what about the bullet that was below Dan?
Pardon?
The bullet that was below Dan that was recovered?
That was right here. Depicted in picture D. It was found underneath his body when we lifted his body up.
Why don't you use the pointer and show the jury exactly where that is? And you can get moving back so the jury, all the jurors can see.
There's a better picture here of it in C. It's hard to see, but it's right here.
For the record, you're pointing to a black placard, number 3 in the picture, and to the right side of that placard, just adjacent to the placard that's depicted in photograph C. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Could you point it out one more time so we can see it?
Right there.
Okay. Now, the bullet that was found under Linda, how was that discovered?
When we lifted her body off the mattress, we found it underneath.
And what about the bullet found under Dan?
Saying we didn't discover it until his body was actually lifted off the.
Where, to the best of your recollection, was the bullet recovered under Dan's body?
Well, it would be, he was laying on his left side, so it was hidden from view on underneath his left side. So we lifted the body up and we can see it.
And did you, when
Upper
you
chest,
I'm sorry.
by the upper chest area.
when you rolled Dan's body over, did you notice any wound to the front of his body?
Yes, he had I noticed one wound in his back, and he had another wound up in the upper right chest.
Can you tell us how close or far proximity from this wound in his you said upper chest
Yes,
was the bullet recovered?
just within inches.
You know whether or not the bullet was still in the wound at that point?
No, before we lifted him up.
Yes.
No.
Now the other bullet, the last bullet, the bullet that was found on the nightstand, is that shown anywhere?
Yes, that's depicted in picture E. You can see where the nightstand is split. Well, the bullet entered the corner of the nightstand and ended up about 5 or 6 inches into the wound. That's all.
Here I have a single eye loop, appears to be an 8 by 9 by 14 photograph showing a nightstand. People's knife.
So Mark.
Show you now People's 9. Is that another view, a close-up view of the nightstand?
Sure.
And can you show us where the bullet was lodged?
It entered right here in the corner and split the wood and went through to approximately here, 4 inches, 5 inches into the nightstand.
Did you process the nightstand into evidence and take it back to the police department?
Yes.
And at some later time, did you remove the bullet from the nightstand?
Yes.
Now moving on to various pools and stains of blood that are shown on the larger placard People's 8, I believe. Let's look up at exhibit or photo H. Tell us what that shows.
This is the photograph of the bed. Linda Broderick's body was found on this side. And,
I think this was after she was removed.
yes.
Again, can you move back a little bit because we have some jurors in that car.
The body was found on this side of the bed.
And what was depicted there you saw once you removed the bodies
What did I see where?
in terms of blood stains and People's age?
These blood stains?
Yes.
Yes, I saw those and the ones I killed.
What about photo F? People's 8.
There's blood stains here on the sheets and of the bed.
And I take it the photo F in People's 8 shows the bedclothes as they've been rolled back now to reveal the bodies.
That's correct.
What about photo E?
Okay, this is blood stains that were directly underneath Linda Broderick's body.
And that shows the condition of the blood stains on the left side of the bed facing the headboard after Linda's body was removed.
That's correct.
And photo D, People's 8. What does that show?
This is blood that was would be directly in front of his face when he was laying down. This is a white frothy right here that was by his nose and his mouth.
Now, photo D shows a certain amount of bloody froth as you described. Is that a very accurate depiction of the amount of bloody foam and froth when you first came upon the bodies that morning?
So the blood part is pretty much the same, but this froth, it was a bubble froth, and the bubbles had popped, and this had gone down considerable than when we first got to the scene.
If you feel comfortable doing so, can you tell us percentage-wise how much more of the foam was present over what's shown in photograph D there when you first arrived there and looked at it?
I'd say 10 to 20% larger than is just depicted right here.
Now, did you happen to know the telephone that was disconnected in the hallway area when you went up and processed the scene?
Yes, photograph A depicts the telephone that we found in the landing area right outside the master bedroom.
Now, again, showing you an already marked People's 2, calling your attention to photograph A. In that particular exhibit, is there another view of the telephone?
Yes, here's the telephone here, and here's the entrance to the master bedroom.
On both of those photographs of the telephone, do they both fairly and accurately show the position of the telephone when you first came upon it, when you entered the Cypress address the day of the homicide?
Yes.
Did you make any further investigation to find out where the rest of the telephone cord was?
Yes,
Tell us about that, please.
we went to, back into the bedroom and the entertainment center.
Your Honor, I have two photographs showing the interior of the bedroom labeled A and B. I got labeled equals 10. So are. Now showing these equals 10. Can you tell us which photograph A shows?
Sure, this is the entertainment center next to the bed. And we discovered the ripped phone line behind it.
Can you point to that in the jurors' bench?
Depicted in picture B, here's the actual phone line, and it goes to the outlet, which is in the wall behind the entertainment center.
Did you have to move the entertainment center some distance or small distance to reveal what's shown in photograph B there?
Yes.
How much did you have to move it, in what direction?
Well, we moved it away from the wall a few inches so we could unplug the phone line from the cord, from the wall socket.
And is photograph B taken before or after the entertainment center has been moved?
I believe that's before.
You can take a seat now, start the video. Now, did you process the telephone into evidence along with the other items that you removed from the scene?
Yes.
And what about the severed end of the phone cord? Did you do that as well? It was found near the jack?
Yes.
I'll hand you a fairly rumpled paper bag here, labeled People's Exhibit 11. Your Honor, for the record, of a paper bag containing a telephone line.
This is marked item number 1, and the address and the case number is written on the bag.
You just removed a telephone, irene color with a lot of black grayish powder on it, and a silver cord that's been severed at one end. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that telephone that you seized at 1041 Cypress on November 5th?
Yes.
And is this the condition the telephone was in when it was seized?
Well, aside from the black powder is fingerprint powder.
Is that routine to do once you seize an item of evidence of that nature?
Yes, we dust it for prints after we seize it.
What about the condition of the torn cord? Is that how it appeared when you seized it?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a small manila envelope that contains a portion of a telephone cord, ripped at one end, and with a telephone cord jack at the other end. I'd like to label People's Exhibit 12. Very so are. Thank you. I'll hand you People's Exhibit 12. Can you open? Well, it's already been opened. Can you get your fingers in there and take out whatever's in that envelope? What is that, sir, that you've removed?
This is the telephone cord we removed from behind the entertainment center in the master bedroom.
The one that's been depicted in the photographs you've shown the jury?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you put it back in the envelope, please? And before you do that, is it in the same condition it was when you took it from Cyprus after finding it behind the entertainment center?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have 4 more small manila envelopes, each containing a lead projectile like those marked People's Exhibits 13, 14, 15, and 16. There's somewhere. Thank you. I'll now show you these 3 or 4 manila envelopes marked People's 13 through 16. Why don't we before we do that, why don't we reassemble Exhibit 11 there, put that back in the bag. Are you familiar with those particular envelopes and their contents?
Yes.
And starting off with 13, what does that say?
This is a bullet that was found on the in the landing area. We determined it had passed through the wall of the bedroom.
For the record, did you remove from People's 13 the envelope, the spent bullet?
Yes. Number 14 was found on the floor of the bedroom. This is the one that was found underneath. Can't see it too well. Found underneath Dan Broderick's body when we removed it. And 15, the bullet was found underneath Linda Broderick's body when we removed her body. We found this one underneath her body. And number 16, the bullet that was embedded in the nightstand.
Now, did you also seize the bedclothes that were on the bed?
Yes.
What were the items that you seized?
The a top sheet, a bottom sheet, and the mattress pad.
Is that the pad that had the furrow in it where the bullet was found?
Yes.
And you processed those into evidence as well?
Yes.
Now, were there any holes found in any of the bedclothes that you seized?
Yes. Both the sheets had holes in them.
What about the blanket?
I believe it did.
And other than the furrow in the mattress pad, was there any other deformity to it?
Not that I can recall.
Your Honor, I have a paper bag containing what appears to be a mattress pad. May that be labeled People's Exhibit 17? Yes. And another paper bag containing a white sheet. May that be labeled People's Exhibit 18? Yes. Another paper bag containing another white sheet. May that be labeled People's Exhibit 19. There's so marked. Thank you. I will hand you, start off in numerical order here. You got 17. Why don't you describe for us what is in People's Exhibit 17?
This is the mattress cover with pad with the red stains and a apparent hole in it. This was found on the bed.
That's the pad with the furrow in it.
That's correct.
And People's Exhibit 18?
Okay, this is a sheet with red stains that was found on the bed with an apparent hole in it.
People's Exhibit 19?
This is also a sheet with a apparent hole in it taken from the bed.
Well, is it fair to say one of these sheets would be the sheet that would cover you if you were lying in bed, and the other sheet would be the sheet that would be over the mattress pad and under you?
Yes.
Can you tell us which one is which from what you've got there?
No, I can't.
Okay. I have a paper bag containing a keychain with a metallic teddy bear as a fob on that keychain. I like that. Our People's Exhibit 20. So marked. I'll hand you the bag now. Label People's Exhibit 20 here. I'll take some of those off here.
The counter will fold down to give you more room if you want.
I've got lots of them. Right. Can you withdraw the contents of People's Exhibit 20, please?
This is a keychain that was given to me by the prosecutor to take back to the residence at 1041 Cypress to see if any of these keys would open any of the doors in the house.
And we're talking about exterior doors?
That's correct.
And you said the prosecutor talking about Terry Wells?
Yes.
Did you at some date later than November 5th go back to the residence with the keys in People's Exhibit 20 and try them in all the exterior doors?
I did.
How many exterior doors are we talking about here?
Well, downstairs or
Let's see. Did you can access the house from the ground level?
I know there were French doors leading off the living room to the outside. There was a door from the study, but I'm not sure if they all had outside locks. But at the time, I checked all the doors that did have locks with this keychain and could not find any of them any key to work on any of the doors.
Using every one of the keys on the keychain that you have in front of you.
Yes.
Ah, what's up, Bad Duck? Thank you for the $5 super chat and a reason to take a break from this excruciatingly slow introduction of evidence. Yes, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina, just in case someone was not clear. Quack. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the interruption. So much. Yes, all the keychains. We had all the keychains on the keychains, and every once in a while there was a couple keys. Obviously, there wasn't push button start back then. Is this the same keychain with the slogan? I don't know. I don't know. Ah. Yep. Flashband vintage people. That's right. You heard it here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I think I've aged. I think I can retire. That's right. That's right. When the phones go down and you can't just have it a wealth of knowledge in your hands, you're gonna need us oldies. Because we're the only ones that know how to read maps. Okay. Can we get back to this excruciatingly slow? Also, it's so weird to watch these old trials and they don't ever wear gloves. They just are like, here's all the evidence, let me touch it. And this is a retrial, so. Absolutely. Ah. Gabby, I'm afraid we would end up yelling at people on your front yard like old people, since they seem to want to hang out there today. Gabby has funny people that walk by her yard and make flour and use it. Oh, there won't be any carrier pigeons. They'll all be gone. Yes, that's what she yells. Slightly different tone, but that pretty much sums up what she yells. You want to yell at kids? Unfortunately, I don't think they're children. I think they're adults acting like children. A dare. Oh, a dare. You are so funny. Gabby will say, get off my lawn. Oh, you probably should be done, Flash Fan. Gabby may just come get it. You with the cane right now. Aw, I don't believe that, Bad Duck. Oh, look who it is. Hey, Puddletown. We're taking a very short break here. Aw, you don't like the little children? Remember, you were one once. You were one time. Whatever. Yeah, Bad Duck, you should see. You should see the messages that Gabby accidentally sends into chat when she's yelling at people on her front yard. in her front yard, on her front yard. They're hilarious. I can't put them up because they're full of swears, but they're hilarious. Full of swears. I just sound like an old person now, don't I? Good grief. Don't answer that. I'm hitting play.
Now, in the room that is just off the kitchen and the downstairs of Dan and Betty Broderick household, did you find, I know that evidence there that you seized and processed as evidence?
Yes,
What is that?
it was a portrait of the Broderick family.
Was there anything unusual about the portrait?
It was a slash through Dan Broderick's face.
We're gonna have a framed family portrait, wood frame. I'd like that marked People's Exhibit 21.
You saw Mark?
You can stay where you are. I'll just hold this up. I'll show you the portrait labeled People's Exhibit 21. Is this the portrait that you saw in that room next to the kitchen?
Yes,
And can you point out the slash you were talking about?
right there.
The directly on Daniel Broderick's face?
Yes.
And I have no further questions.
Well, do that.
Yes, thank you.
Sir, when you went to the crime scene originally, were there already officers there?
Yes.
And how many would you say were there?
Counting detectives from my team,
Yes.
I'd say 7, 8.
And you indicated that you would take photographs depicting the scene before you moved anything, is that correct?
Yes,
Then you would take photographs afterwards, is that correct?
that's correct.
Now, you indicated that you found the phone upstairs in the hallway.
Yes,
Did you check to see if the phones in the house were working?
there was a phone downstairs that in the kitchen that had an answering machine, and it was working.
And was the answering machine on, off?
It was on.
And were there any lines going into the house, in the bedroom? Was that a different phone in the bedroom than downstairs?
Different phone number?
Yes.
I don't know.
Did you ever try to see?
No.
Now, during the, when you went into the house, the phone, as you've shown, was in the position that you saw. Is that correct? It was in the hallway?
Yes,
And showing you what has been marked as 2. There's a picture there with the phone and how the phone appeared to be and how the cord appeared to be. Is that correct?
yes,
Now, at some point in time, at another hearing, you were asked to take the phone and demonstrate how you found it. Remember that?
yes,
And you remember taking the cord and hanging up the phone and wrapping the cord around the phone
yes,
and indicating that's the way you found the phone?
yes.
Okay. And was that the way you found the phone with the cord wrapped around it?
No.
That was your memory at the time?
At the time, that's what I recalled. Yes,
The, now you indicated that when you went into the bedroom that the position of the sheets, the pictures that have been entered that you've shown was exactly how you saw the scene when you walked in, is that correct? In other words, the showing you what has been marked as People's 5, it shows a blanket, is that correct, and the sheet?
There was that flower thing was a
Comforter?
comforter.
Was there also a blanket?
I believe so. I'm not real sure.
But this is the position of the bedding when you saw it.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you indicated that, did you seize the comforter?
No.
Did you seize the blanket?
As best I can recall, we did, yes.
And the blanket you indicated had a hole in it?
Yes.
And you indicated that the top sheet had a hole in it, is that correct?
Yes.
And also the bottom sheet, whichever one was which?
Yes.
Did you look to see, was one of the sheets fitted? Did you look to see if one of the sheets was a fitted sheet and one was a non-fitted sheet?
Just no.
Did you look at the time? Do you remember looking?
I think one was a fitted sheet. I'm not real sure. I'll take a
Well,
look at them.
if you could look at it and tell me
Sure.
if it refreshes your recollection.
Yes.
And which one was it that was
It was
fitted?
the item number 18 was the fitted sheet.
Okay. And does that refresh your recollection? I suppose that the fitted sheet was on the bottom and the other sheet was on top?
Yes.
Now, when you removed the bodies, how did you do that? Did you roll the bodies over, pick them up? How did you do that?
Well, as best I can recall, there were a couple of the medical examiner investigator was there, and his he has a team of 2 persons that pick up the bodies. And I don't recall if we helped them do that or they did it on their own. But they were just picked up and then placed into a body bag.
There was nothing done at the scene on the bed to roll them over to see if there was any evidence before you moved them off the bed that you can recall?
I seem to recall the minute they were lifted, the bullets were discovered that were underneath them. And I don't know if we stopped then and recovered the bullets or continued just taking, I think we just took the bodies off and then recovered the bullets later.
And in picture number 8,
Well, fun fact for those of you that are having fun with the ginger on the stand, you missed 2 witnesses ago when this attorney asked the guy if he was Irish. Had nothing to do with anything. Obviously, it was objected to, was not answered, so we don't know. But it was funny.
shows the, is that the actual location of the bullet? The one in G?
Yes.
And it shows a furrow, is that correct? And
But this would be this right here.
shows a furrow?
Yes.
Okay, and the furrow is some distance, how far would you indicate that it is from the bullet?
Well, it looks on the photo just
Your Honor, I would object unless you have to prove that the photo will properly show inches. There may be some distortion. I would rather he testify from his knowledge. Overall, you're gonna have to if you can.
it appears to be about an inch and a half, maybe.
Does this photo look distorted to you?
You're talking the end of the furrow right here,
I'm just
the
asking you.
beginning of it. Well, it looks to me it's like about an inch and a half from the end of the furrow.
I'm just asking you, does the photo look distorted to you?
No.
Okay. And you can see a hole in the bottom sheet, is that correct, in that photo, just to the right of the burrow?
I can't see the hole from here. But what are you talking about?
And you see right here.
Oh, yes. This is the bottom sheet.
Yes,
Yes,
it appears to be, it's a fitted sheet, right?
yes,
And it appears to be right where it's folded back, there appears to be some kind of hole in the sheet, is that correct?
yes.
And that would be the hole you're talking about. the hole that you found in the bottom sheet.
Yes.
And also, you indicated that there was a, did you measure how far this was away from the side of the bed?
I believe we did this.
Okay, and do you remember how far it was from the side of the bed, the bullet?
I'd have to look at the evidence report.
Okay, do you have that with you?
I think I do. Can I go to my briefcase?
Sure. Go right ahead. Did you write a report with the measurements?
Well, the evidence technician that's assigned to the case writes a report. I write a report on the items that were seized, and he also writes an additional report on how he seized them and measurements and stuff like that.
And do you take the measurements?
Sometimes I do, and then sometimes the evidence technician does. And we work together on it.
If maybe I can show you this report, this may help refresh your memory as to how far it is.
It's foul. It is foul.
Okay, this is a report that says one white mattress cover with red stain in an apparent hole. The item was collected from the top of the bed. But, if you want the exact measurements of that hole, then I think you'd have to go to the report that was done by the evidence technician.
That's your report that you're looking at?
Yes.
Okay, but it was the evidence technician's report that would indicate how far for instance, the bullet is from the side of the bed.
Well, some items are measured right in the scene. The hole that's in the sheet may not be measured right there at the scene. It may be taken to the crime lab and measured at the crime lab.
But, so it might not be measured at the scene as to where it's on the bed or how it's pulled on the bed. Is that correct?
The hole
Yes.
may not be, no.
How about the bullet that's on the bed? Would it be measured how far it is from the end of any particular part of the bed?
Yes, that should be.
And also it would, obviously the furrow would be measured, would it be measured at the time it's on the bed or would it be measured at a later time?
It would probably be measured at the crime lab.
Okay, so it wouldn't be measured when it was actually on the bed itself.
The missile would be, but not necessarily the hole.
And then where was the hole found in the top sheet?
Where was it?
Yes.
I don't know. That's another. What we do is we take the sheet as evidence, and then it would be measured at the crime lab at a later date.
Well, did anyone look at the time at the scene to determine where? I mean, you had some evidence of where the sheet was at least found at the time you found the body. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and at that time, did anyone take any measurements of the top sheet label, that this is the top part of it, towards the top of the bed, this is towards the bottom of the bed, this is towards the right or the left side? Did anyone do that?
At the scene, no. Items like that, we let the crime lab do that.
But when someone gathers it up, is there a label on the sheet that says, we took this from the top of the bed, this from the foot of the bed, this is from the head of the bed, this is the left, this is the right, this is the part facing up, this is the part facing down?
No.
Okay. But it just goes to the crime lab, and then the crime lab is able to tell from a sheet what is the top and bottom? How do they do that?
Well, like in this case, the bottom sheet is a fitted sheet, and the top sheet is not. So,
Okay. But the top sheet itself, there's no labeling done on it so that we know what was at the head of the bed, what was at the foot of the bed, what's at either side of the bed, how the sheet was located on the bed.
no.
Is anything done on the blanket to determine where the top of which part of the blanket is closest to the head of the bed, which is closest to the foot, what's closest to the side?
No.
And do we know which side of the blanket is up and which side of the blanket's down?
No.
Are they collected separately, the blanket from the top sheet?
Yes.
It appears they are. They're in different bags. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there anything done that shows how the blanket is on the top sheet as the way you find it? I mean, do you put pins through it so that someone can say, okay, they were connected here in such a way? Or any marks?
Well, the best I can recall from this incident, the holes were not discovered until the bodies were removed. So it'd be very difficult to find a hole, with everything is all rumpled up.
So you knew that, at that point in time, you knew that someone had been shot in the bed. Is that correct?
When I entered the crime
Yes.
scene, yes.
But you didn't make any effort to be able to determine at a later time where the blanket and the top sheet were in relation to each other.
Well, we know where the body was when we found it. So when a crime lab would measure where the hole is, they could perhaps deduce something from that.
And who was it that found the hole in the sheet in the top blanket at some later time after it had been removed?
I think the holes were discovered at the scene by Grablin, evidence technician Grablin. I'm not real sure though.
Okay, well, you're the one who's in charge of the crime scene. You're the police officer who's there, who's the boss, right? The
Well,
crime scene.
we were, yes.
Okay. And you don't recall who found, it appeared to be a bullet hole, is that correct?
Yes.
And you don't remember who pointed that out to you?
I'm trying to recall if I found it or he found it. I really don't remember.
And do you recall taking any measurements at all at the scene when you found the bullet hole to see if it related to anything that was at the scene?
We don't normally do that because it's so difficult to tell when bodies are moving around in a bed exactly what position they were in from a hole, because the sheet is on top of them and it moves when they move, and apparently there was some movement after they had been shot. There was a movement on the bed, and of course Dan Broderick's body was on the floor, so he had moved off the bed. So there's really no way of telling exactly what position the sheet was in or the blankets when they got shot.
But when you're doing a crime scene, for instance, when you unmake a bed, you can take the blankets and pull them back and just lay them out at the foot of the bed so you know what position they're in. You could do that, right? So that you basically know what end was tucked here and what end was tucked here on the bed, on the left and the right, and move them back and expose the body. Is that correct?
Yes, you could do that.
Did you do that?
You could do that, yes.
Did you do that?
Well, as far as knowing where they were on the sheets, there was blood stains on the sheets, so you could pretty much tell where their bodies were. They had Linda had a head shot and a chest shot, and he had a shot in the chest. So the blood would be centered primarily on top of in the top area of the sheets and the blankets. It wouldn't, as opposed to the foot of the bed.
Was there blood on the top blanket?
I believe there was.
And did you make any determination where that blood was relationship to blood that was at the scene?
I don't understand the question.
Well, when you took we have in here a picture, what is F, 8F for identification, is that correct? See that picture?
Yes.
Okay. That, was the body removed at that point?
Yes.
Okay, but the blankets in the top sheet are still on the bed, is that correct?
Yes.
And did someone put them back on the bed, or is that where they were moved to?
No, when we removed the bodies, we pulled the top sheet and the blanket off Linda Broderick's body.
Okay. And what does number 8 represent?
Oh, I refer to my list.
Sure.
Okay, Adam 8 is one white sheet.
Okay. So because you have numbers there, that doesn't mean it's how you discovered it, is that correct?
No, how we discovered it are the original photographs we take when we first enter the scene. That's how it's discovered. When we go to collect evidence, obviously we can't see some evidence until we do some moving around. That's how we discovered the bullets. We didn't see them until their bodies were removed.
Were you ever made aware of where in the blanket the bullet hole was? Do you remember where it was?
No.
Did you ever see it?
I really don't recall whether I saw the hole in the blanket or not.
The top sheet, do you remember where in the top sheet the hole was?
I remember it was,
And I'm talking, when I say top sheet, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about the sheet that's on top of the bed, I'm talking about the unfitted sheet.
the fitted sheet.
The unfitted sheet, the one that would be the one that you would use to pull over your body when you go to sleep. Do you remember where the hole was on that?
No.
You did not know of the bullet's existence until after you removed the bodies, is that correct? The two, one that was found on the bed and one that was found on the floor under Mr. Broderick.
We didn't discover those until the bodies were actually picked up.
Did you take measurements of where Mr. Broderick was found in the room? For instance, how far his head was from any wall, how far his feet were?
Yes.
Okay, did you then take measurements at all of the bullet to discover where it was found in the room?
Yes.
Okay, and do you remember where the bullet was found, what the measurements were?
No.
Okay, that was something that you didn't do?
No, there's a report written by the evidence technician that contains those measurements. I'll help him do the measurements, but he's the one that actually writes the report as to what the measurements are.
And so at least the best that you have now is the best of your memory at this point in time is that the bullet was found somewhere in the position of where Mr. Broderick's chest was.
Yes,
Now, as he's facing the bed, and it's on his left side, is that correct? That he's on?
he's laying on his left side.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, and his back is away from the bed and he's facing the bed, is that correct?
no, yeah, his back is away from the bed, yes. His back is facing the wall, and his chest area is facing the bed.
And is the bullet found right under where his side would be, or is it found between him and the bed, or is it found, do you remember where?
It was underneath him.
Okay. Was he wrapped up in bedclothes? You need to see a photo, refresh your memory.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Because his memory is gone because you've gone so long and asked pointless questions about holes in sheets.
It's apparent he has the part of the sheet in the comforter room.
And that's in photograph 4B and obviously 4A that you're talking about?
Yes,
Now, before you remove the bodies, those are the sheets that are pulled away and laid at the end of the bed, is that correct?
yes.
Okay. And do you know whether the bullet was wrapped up in the sheet or the blanket or not?
No, it was on the floor directly underneath him.
Well, but do you know whether the bullet was originally in the sheet and when you pulled the sheet out, it fell out of the sheet? Do you know whether that's the case or not?
That's possible.
Okay. The measurements of
Would this be a good time to take a noon recess?
yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our noon recess at this time. We'll be in recess until 1:30. Please remember the admonition not to discuss the case among yourselves, nor allow anyone
Not
to
be in
discuss
recess.
it with you, nor form any opinions till it's finally submitted to you. Have a nice lunch.
We'll be right back.
Other things
Right
that
now.
in your report that aren't measured, such as the projectiles that were found. Is that correct?
Not by me.
But in your report, you don't indicate any measurements.
That's correct.
Okay. Does that mean that no measurements were taken, or does that mean that those measurements should be in somebody else's report?
No, that means they possibly are in somebody else's report. I don't know. They're not in my report.
Okay, it may mean that the measurements just weren't taken of those.
Yes.
And you don't have any independent recollection of whether items that, where there's no measurement indicated in your report, whether in fact those things were measured?
Well, I can tell you our procedure is to measure before we collect any evidence.
Okay, that's your procedure, but you don't have an independent recollection of what in fact you did in this case.
Right.
And so the only ones that you can say for sure that you know are measured are the ones where you actually show a measurement.
Yes.
The, and the blanket is just something that, you know, that was seized but not brought to the courtroom as far as you know.
As far as I know, yes.
The, now the house is situated so that, can you tell me the front door, is it on the east side, west side of the house, do you know?
Front door's on the north side.
The north side of the house? Okay, and the, bedroom is on what side of the house?
Would be in the southeast corner of the house.
Okay, so it's, the bedroom has a wall on the back side of the house,
Yes.
and it has a wall on the east side of the house.
Yes, and there's a door there that leads to a outside patio on the east side.
On the east side of the house?
Yes.
Okay, and so, And the hallway runs north of the stairway, does that run north and south?
Yes,
So the top of the stairs would be on the south end of the house, and you'd be walking north as you were leaving the house, is that correct?
yes.
Do you remember approximately how long you were, at what time it was that you started removing items of evidence, moving the body, moving the sheets? Remember what time it was during the day?
I think the time when the bodies were removed is listed in my report.
Would it help you if I gave you a copy of the report, or do you have one?
No,
What does it matter? I guess she's innocent. They were moved at 3 p.m. She's innocent. Dude, ask the question that means something.
do you want me to read this?
If you can just tell me, just refresh it so you refresh your memory as to what time you started to.
It says at 11:30, Dan Broderick is picked up from the floor.
That's 11:30 a.m.
Yes.
Okay.
And at 11:51, it says both bodies have been removed.
The keys that you found, did you find that the keys fit any item of evidence? Did you ever find anything that those keys fit to?
The only thing I tried were the outside doors to the house. So I don't know. I didn't try the key in anything else.
Okay, so you didn't try any keys in any cars, other homes, anywhere else?
No.
And did you ever get another set of keys to try? To the house?
No.
I honestly do not know who was worse. This guy or the guy in the last trial that played like he just couldn't put 2 plus 2 together in his brain. Because this guy's at least faster at asking his questions. I can't speed him up because if I could, trust me, I would. But oh my gosh. Is that the son seated at the defense table? Ew, no, that's the defendant. He does look like Ben Stein. Bueller. But he would ask better questions. Because I think she's trying to be bright and cherry there, Daddy Short Nuts. I don't know why Dorothy Spornak moved to the other side of her today, but she is a lemon. in so many ways, she is a lemon. Oh my goodness. All right, I just had to take a break from his rambling on and on and on. Who cares? You just have not asked anything that's going to prove her guilt or innocence. Nothing. But we got lots of holes, don't we? Kept you guys all entertained, which kept me entertained. So that all works out.
I have no further questions. Are you ready?
The keys that you have in front of you there, Sergeant Gelder. At the time that you were trying those keys in the house, were you aware how it was the defendant had gained entrance into the house?
No.
And that was one of your purposes in trying to see if those keys in that key ring, that particular key ring, fit into the entrance doors?
That's correct.
And none of them did?
No.
Now, the evidence that you've testified to, that you've shown the jury here, is it normal procedure to collect the evidence and you let the crime lab look for the holes, analyze the blood stains, and look into the the smaller aspects of what's maybe on each piece of evidence?
Sure, there's various items of trace evidence that we can't see when we're at the scene that they're able to, with the devices in the crime lab, to see, such as microscopes or.
Why weren't you in particular worried about locating each bullet hole where it might be on the sheet or blanket or what have you?
Well, we thought there may be some trace evidence also, such as a gunshot powder residue, and that's why we collect it, because that sort of evidence can be lost by too much movement.
So if you had, let's say, spread out the blanket or moved it around or the sheet, things might have come off those pieces of evidence that you might then not be able to recover later.
Certainly.
What is your purpose for photographing the evidence as you've laid out in all these various photographs for us before you move anything or touch anything?
To show what the scene looked like, to preserve what occurred as best we can.
And with the photographs, would you have any problem repositioning the sheets if you needed to do so?
No.
Why didn't you do all the things Mr. Early, defense attorney, talked about in terms of writing down what corner each sheet was and how it was positioned on the bed?
Well, it was my opinion at the time that we didn't know exactly where the person was standing when these people got shot. And depending on the distance from the gun muzzle to the actual target, gunpowder residue could come out of the gun and be embedded in the sheets. So we wanted to be careful. We preserved that sort of evidence because it could possibly lead to the distance between the target and the shooter.
Is that something that somebody else in a crime lab does in terms of analysis rather than the first on the scene homicide detective such as yourself?
Sure, we have a firearms expert at the San Diego Police Department who does that sort of analysis.
Might be called Gene Wolberg.
Yes.
Now, when you rolled Dan's body over, you said you found a spent bullet underneath him. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And let me show you another photograph if I could. Your Honor, for the record, we have a poster board with 4 11 by 14 autopsy photographs now marked People's Exhibit 22. So, Mark, thank you. Why don't you just...
FYI, these are autopsy photographs in case you did not hear him. So I don't think they're graphic, but they're bigger. So just beware, please.
Stay where you are. I'm going to put this up on the board right here. Now, looking at People's Exhibit 22, specifically photograph B in the lower left-hand corner as you look at the exhibit here, is that a fair and accurate depiction of the shoulder wound that you saw in Dan Broderick's shoulder and upper chest area when you rolled him over? He was only clad in boxer shorts when you found him?
Yes.
And well, let's stick with the exhibit here. Can you show us on here approximately how far or close to that particular wound the bullet was as you rolled him over?
Well, I'd say no more than an inch, 2 inches.
And why would that be?
Why was it?
Well, how did you come to that observation?
Well, we picked up his body very carefully, and then the bullet was spotted almost immediately.
On the carpet?
Yes.
Now, referring now to the spent bullet that was found underneath Linda Broderick's body. Again, I'm, for the record, referring to People's Exhibit 8, and within that exhibit, photograph G. You see what I'm talking about here? Now, it's correct to state that that bullet is an inch or so away from the end of the furrow that was found in the mattress pad.
Yes.
And this sheet that's in the upper right-hand corner of G, is that the bottom fitted sheet that overlay the mattress pad?
Yes.
Did you remove that fitted sheet to expose the bullet and the furrow on the mattress pad?
Yeah, we didn't see the bullet until that sheet was removed. The fitted sheet was removed.
Were you looking for a bullet at that time?
No, we're just looking for evidence. We started gathering it, and we had covered the sheet and found the bullet.
Okay. Do you know whether or not you, when you were removing the fitted lower sheet that was over the mattress pad, whether or not that might have caused the bullet to move in some way? And you know precisely what position the bullet occupied before you removed the fitted sheet that was over it?
Precisely what position, no.
Oh. I take it you couldn't see it at that point.
Right.
I have no further questions. Regross? Yeah. Sir, when you tag evidence, you put a little tag on it to let you know. Sometimes you put things on, like you might put a pin or you might put an initial by a piece of evidence to let you know what you found. Is that correct?
Well, the procedure is just like we do here on this. They put it inside an envelope or a container, and then they mark the outside of the container. The actual marking of the evidence is not, some evidence it's done, but stuff like where there's trace evidence or bullets like this, you'll just put it directly in a package and then mark the package.
But now, for instance, when we refer to A, where the bedding is on the bed, were you afraid that by going all the way over this corner and just pulling out a little bit of the corner of the sheet to mark where it is in relation, how far it was pulled over this way, you were afraid that you would move something that was over here where the shooting was? You were afraid you were going to disturb something?
Well, that's an assumption we could make at the time, that the shooting occurred where the body was finished. That body could have, when the person was shot, they could have started moving. So not necessarily where they got shot is where the final position is.
I understand that, but were you worried that if you just pulled out a corner of the sheet just so you could put a mark on it to know where it was in relation to the bed, you were afraid that might disturb evidence on it?
I don't know. The concern is not to disrupt any trace evidence.
But when you removed the bodies, you lifted the bodies up and there were people lifting it up. When you look at 8, I believe it is, when you look at 8, the sheets were left on the bed, is that correct?
Yes, they're photographed.
So when the person was on the bed and they're lifted up, obviously someone got on the bed to do that, didn't they? To lift the bodies? Or they were able to lift the bodies without going on the bed at all?
I think we were able to lift the bodies up. There were enough of us there. We lifted the bodies up off the bed, as I recall.
Without touching the bed at all?
I'm sure, I don't know.
And it was your memory that it was about 2 inches, about an inch from the wound that you found the bullet?
Yes.
When you look at the photograph, the left arm is on the ground Is the right arm also on the ground? The right shoulder? Or is that, is he on his side?
Right, I think the photograph speaks for itself.
Over, go ahead and get that.
His right arm is on the side. When we lifted the body up, we were able to see the bullet.
This is the position of the body as you found it, right?
Yes.
The wound that's in here to the right shoulder is right up here in the front of the shoulder blade, is that correct?
It doesn't look, it's closer to the floor than is depicted in that photograph, but as you can see, this part of him is down on the floor. He's not completely on his side.
Okay, so in this photograph, he's actually laying flat, not on the side.
Well, not completely flat, no. But we weren't able to see the bullet until we lifted his body up.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Redirect.
Yes.
Together, I'm going to show you People Exhibit 7, which is a photograph of the bodies after the bedclothes have been removed and before the bodies have been moved. How can you show the jury what you're talking about? See on the left shoulder area.
Yeah, he's tilted over.
For those of you that don't know, those are at least her daughters. I think, that is Kimberly or Kim Broderick with her head down in her hand. And I think the one behind her is Lee, which we will hear from both of them. And not today. So, all right. I do have a question for y'all, though. This guy's almost done. Thank goodness. We have about an hour left and 2 detectives to get through, which I'm okay. If you guys want to, we can go for another hour if you want. I can stop it. I don't care. You guys tell me. Doesn't matter. But let me know in the next 1.5 minutes.
So that you can't, he's closer to the floor and you can't exactly see anything on the floor until his body is lifted up. And the bullet was below that, directly, the bullet was on the floor below that, a couple of inches off from that.
Now, when the defense attorney asked you about whether or not the bullet was about an inch or so away from the wound, are you saying that the bullet was necessarily that far away from the wound?
Well, I took it to mean that if the wound is here, then it's just an inch or so from the wound itself. But from the actual distance from the hole to the floor may have been a couple of inches, 3 inches that way. But I was talking about the distance this way on the floor from the wound itself.
Are you saying it was within an inch or two, or that it would have been at least an inch or maybe 2 inches away? Do you understand the difference?
Yeah, it was within an inch or two.
It could have been at the wound, or it could have been as far as an inch or two away from the wound. Is that accurate?
Right.
I'm not putting words in your mouth now?
No.
Okay. Now going.
You guys are like trying to go out. It's like when you and your significant other are going out to dinner. What do you want to eat? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want to decide. That's why I asked you guys, Flashman. All right. We'll keep going for a little bit. I don't know if I'll make it all the way through this next hour, but I will try.
Going back now to People's Exhibit 4 here. The defense attorney said that you responded to the defense attorney at one point where he was describing the moving of the bedclothes, and you said that could have caused the bullet to move. Do you remember that?
Right.
Could you go into that a little bit more?
Well, the bullet was underneath him, so I don't know, it had to have passed through the bed sheets and blanket before it went into him.
But are you saying that if you came upon Daniel Broderick as he lay here, and assuming that the bullet was down below him, moving the sheets would not have caused the bullet to move?
Oh, no. The bullet was directly underneath him, and no, moving the sheets would not have affected the position of the bullet, no.
Are you telling the jury that moving these sheets to get the sheets and the bedclothes away from Daniel Broderick's body would or would not have disturbed the position of that bullet as you found it?
Would not have.
Thank you. Nothing further.
What is this here? How are you?
All right, you guys. I hear you there, Sir Frank. Yes, Puddletown does not have to hear the 2 hours of squeaking chairs. I have never heard such a squeaky courtroom in my life. However, as Gabby pointed out, at least we have good audio. What the heck did I just say? I don't know, but it is getting on my nerves. It is so constant and loud. I'll probably dream about it later. Tell me what to do. Oh my gosh, Shimmy. We have heard an hour on these projectiles and the holes that they left in the sheets, and were they here, and did they measure here, and did they measure there? There was one found in the sheet when they lifted Linda up. There was one found on the floor, I think, or there was one found in the nightstand. I don't know, to be honest. I kind of tuned out because the defense attorney has had not one good question. Not one. His opening sucked and his questionings sucked too. And everyone is monotone. Like, everyone. It's not just... oh my gosh, everyone is just like it's another day. I guess it is. All right, this is this is Richard Allen. Not that Richard Allen. Not the one in prison in Delphi. Richard Allen, detective with San Diego Police Department, and then we have witness Wayne Mathena, detective, San Diego Police Department. And then we will be done. So let's roll on. What is this? I'm sorry. The closed captionings are funny sometimes too. Wait. Gabby, did you really want to stop, Gabby? I'm confused now. I don't even know what to do anymore. Because I don't care. My poor husband's still outside mowing. Sorry if you can hear it. Monotoned and multi-hold. Oh, okie doke. I'm hitting play. Let's do it. We can do it. We can do it.
And officer, could you please state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Richard Allen, A-L-L-E-N.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Detective Allen.
Good afternoon.
For whom do you work?
The San Diego Police Department.
In what capacity?
I'm a homicide investigator.
How long have you been employed in that capacity?
About 5.5 years,
And how long have you been a police officer with the San Diego Police Department?
17 and a half.
Calling your attention to November 5th, 1989, where you was assigned as a homicide detective to Team 6.
Yes, I was.
And on that date, where you called to investigate a homicide, a double homicide that occurred at 1041 Cypress Street in the city and county of San Diego.
Yes.
Tell us what you did at that time.
Well, we arrived at the scene, and after a briefing conducted by some officers that were there, members of the team were given various assignments.
What was your assignment?
My assignment was to make contact with the daughter of the suspect in the case,
And which daughter would that be?
Kathy Broderick.
Did she also go by the name of Lee?
Yes,
Kathy Lee, I guess would be the right.
correct.
Did you make contact with Kathy Lee on the 5th of November?
Yes, I did.
How was that accomplished?
She was contacted by patrol officers who had been watching a residence belonging to Betty Broderick. And when they saw Kathy, they made contact with her and then notified me. And I met with her at the area of Cass and Garnett and Pacific Beach. That's near Kathy's home.
Would this happen to be the Home Federal Savings parking lot to the beach?
Yes,
And this is close to Kathy Lee's apartment on Sapphire Street, in that same location?
that's correct.
Why was it that you chose to meet with her in the parking lot rather than at her apartment?
There were officers in the area of her apartment on a surveillance because the vehicle that was being driven by Mrs. Broderick had been seen at that location. So officers were there standing by in case they were to see Betty Broderick there.
That would have been an 87 Chevrolet Suburban recreational truck
Yes,
with some license plates, Load 'em Up, LODEMUP.
yes, that's correct.
And did you see that vehicle later parked near the residence of Kathy?
Yes, I did.
Where was it parked precisely?
Almost directly across the street from her apartment. Her apartment is on the south side of Sapphire Street, so this vehicle would have been on the north side of Sapphire.
When you made contact with Kathy in the parking lot of the Home Federal Savings Bank, did you have a conversation with her?
Yes, I did.
What, if anything, did she tell you?
She told me several things.
Objection.
As a basis for the officer's subsequent actions, including the search of the house.
Foundational, what's your foundation as to what he did?
Well, but there's no motion to suppress here, so he did something. I'm not arguing that he had a right to do it.
All right, just ask what we did next.
What'd you do next?
After talking to her,
Yes. We won't ask you what it was.
Just based on what she told you, what did you do?
we went to her apartment, and
What was your purpose in going to the apartment?
the main purpose to go there was to check for the suspect.
Were you looking for anything else in particular?
Yes,
What was that?
a weapon.
And that was based on some information that had been provided you?
That's correct.
How did you gain entrance to Kathy's apartment?
With a key that was given to me by Kathy Lee's boyfriend. His first name was Jason. I can't recall his last name.
Prantiel or Prantel, would that be the last name?
That's correct.
And did she voluntarily agree that you should go into the apartment and look?
Yes, she did.
Did you then enter the apartment?
Yes, I did.
What did you see once you got inside?
Once I was sure that no one was in the apartment, I had Kathy and her boyfriend come in, and Kathy Lee directed me to a bedroom and showed me a purse on the floor,
How many bedrooms were in this apartment?
a one bedroom.
And where was the purse located within the single bedroom?
It was on the floor against the east wall of the bedroom.
Was it near any particular item of furniture or equipment?
It was, as you walk toward it, it would have been just to the left of a nightstand, which had a telephone on it, and next to the nightstand would have been a bed. Bed would have been, all these things would have been to the right of the purse.
How close to the nightstand would the purse have been?
I can't give you
Let's say using a foot as a frame of reference, would it be closer or farther away than a foot?
I'd say a foot and a half, something like that.
Did you look in the purse?
Yes, I did.
What, if anything, did you see?
Just by observing it on the floor, I could see a handgun in the purse.
And once you caught sight of this handgun, what did you do?
I seized the entire purse as it was and turned it over to an evidence technician.
Did you do anything with the contents at that particular time?
No, I didn't.
Or take the gun out?
No, I didn't.
Were you given any, or come into possession of any keys at that time or a later date?
Yes, I got a set of keys on a ring from Kathy Lee also.
And why did you take those keys?
Kathy told me that they had keys that belonged to the vehicle that was parked across the street. And there were also keys to the suspect's residence on them.
Did you process those keys into evidence?
Yes, I turned those keys over to the evidence technician also.
I'll show you what has been labeled by us containing a paper bag of People's Exhibit 20. These are the keys that
Yes, these are the keys that I received
from Kathy Lee.
from Kathy Lee, yes.
What did you do with the keys?
Once I had them, I turned them over to an evidence technician.
And they were processed into evidence?
Yes.
Your Honor, we have a purse, brown in color, labeled People's Exhibit 23. So marked. And a short-barreled Smith & Wesson stainless steel revolver, 5-shot, 38 special caliber, labeled People's Exhibit 24. So marked. Now I'm going to show you People's Exhibit 23. Are you familiar with that particular purse?
Yes, this is the purse that I saw in the apartment.
And now showing you People's Exhibit 24. Are you familiar with that particular item?
This appears to be the same weapon that I saw
In the purse?
in the purse, yes.
Did you take any other items and process them or have them processed into evidence at that particular time?
A cassette tape from the telephone answering machine at the residence was also taken.
Later on the 5th of November, that same day, that you arranged to meet Kathy at Homicide headquarters in downtown San Diego and have a more thorough interview with her?
Yes, I did.
Was that interview taped
Yes, it
in
was.
its entirety?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross now.
Yes, thank you. Sir, when you seized the, did you ever take any pictures of the, you didn't take any pictures of the purse at the time you seized it, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And well, the purse was not empty as it is now, is it?
No, it was not empty.
It was pretty full of items?
It had items in it, yeah.
Okay. And laying right on top of it was the gun, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you remember what side of the purse it was on? And all?
No, I don't recall which side of the purse it was on.
This is what.
Yeah.
Sir, was the purse put into a evidence bag at some time?
Yes, it was.
Okay. In showing you the Your Honor, I'm going to substitute or put this bag in a newer bag when at some point. But this is the original bag. Is this what would appear to be here? The
For the record, is that the contents of the purse?
Yes, Your Honor.
This looks like the bag, yes.
Okay.
So
And so the purse and the contents were put in that bag.
that's correct.
I think you weren't the person, you didn't go through the purse at any time, did you?
I was present when items were looked at in the purse, but I didn't physically.
Okay, so, but you weren't the one who was either identifying or writing down what was in the purse?
No, I think my evidence technician did those things.
And do you remember when you got the key ring?
I got the key ring while I was still at the apartment.
Okay, so it was while you were still at the apartment. Did you see where it came from?
No, I didn't.
And do you know whether it had been in the apartment or whether Kathy Lee had possession of it?
It came from somewhere within the apartment, and she handed it to me. She got it from somewhere within the apartment.
Okay, so she went and retrieved it in the apartment and came back and gave it to you? Or you're not even sure of
She
that?
picked it up from somewhere and gave it to me, but I don't know from what place she picked it.
That's fine. Thank you, I have no further questions.
Redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. I have a 3x5 color photograph of a person I'd like to mark people's next order.
You have 25.
Thank you.
I'll hand you this photograph that's now been labeled People's Exhibit 25. Is this a fair and accurate depiction of the purse as you found it within a foot or so of the nightstand in the bedroom of Kathy Lee's apartment on the fifth?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Cross?
No.
Witness be excused.
Objection.
None, Your Honor. Just subject to my call.
All right, thank you very much, Detective.
Thank you.
Well, that was quick. Somewhat painless.
People call Detective Wayne Messina.
You going to be using these exhibits?
No, in fact, I'll take the long one.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give and the matter up to you before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Sir, would you please have a seat in the witness seat?
Afternoon, sir. How are you?
Sir, could you please state your full name and spell your last name?
My last name is Mathena, Mathena. First name is Carlisle, Carlisle. Middle name is Wayne.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Detective Messina. Where do you work?
San Diego Police Department,
In what capacity?
the detective in the homicide division.
On Team 6 by any chance?
Yes,
How long have you been involved, how long have you been employed as a homicide detective?
I've been in homicide 2 years,
And for the police department in general?
20.
Calling your attention to the November 5th, 1989, were you also involved in the double homicide at 1041 Cypress Street?
Yes.
What were your duties in that particular date as part of Team 6?
When I arrived at the scene, I was told by Sergeant Calloway to interview Brad Wright.
And after you did that interview, did you then go to another location to look for additional evidence?
Yes, I did.
Where was that?
Calle del Cielo, I believe is the name of the first one.
Would that happen to be 8320 Calle de Cielo, La Jolla?
Yes.
What kind of residence is situated there or was on November 5th?
My estimation is a palatial estate.
Okay. How was it that you gained entrance to that residence on that day?
With a search warrant,
And how was the search warrant procured?
telephonic search warrant.
What were you looking for in particular when you made entrance to the Calle de Cielo residence?
I had information that there was a suicide note in that residence. I was also looking for any other evidence, instruments that would indicate a motive, state of mind, or evidence for a double homicide that had occurred.
When you entered the residence with this telephonic search warrant, did you see anybody inside?
No, I did not.
Was anybody with you when you conducted the search?
Detective Richard Allen was with me.
Was he the gentleman that just left the courtroom?
Yes, he is.
Now, did you seize any items at Calle de Cielo at that time?
Yes, I did.
What was it that you seized?
I seized some papers that were on the kitchen counter, and I seized a small black gun case that was in a bedroom, and a photograph that was in a, I guess, a retreat or a leisure room, which was southeast of the kitchen.
Now, let's talk about the gun case. Where was it that you found that?
It's in a bedroom. The bedroom is located on the north side of the house. It was located in a vanity that is on the south wall.
And where in this vanity was the gun case located?
In a drawer.
Can you tell us where it was inside the drawer? What was there in the drawer with it?
Well, it appeared to be ladies' clothing. And that's all I remember is just ladies' wear.
Okay. Was the gun case under, on top, in the middle of all this clothing?
It was sitting on top of the clothing.
Was the drawer of the vanity open or closed?
It was closed when I first saw it.
And did you open the gun case once you retrieved it?
Yes, I did.
What did you see inside?
2 boxes of ammunition.
Could you describe those 2 boxes, please?
One box, as I remember, was a container that held 20 rounds of 38 caliber ammunition with 5 missing. There was 15 rounds in the box. The other one was a 50 box of ammunition, 38 caliber special.
I'd like to show you, Your Honor, we've had a black gun case with 2 boxes of ammunition, one American Eagle, 50 center fire pistol cartridges, the other one premium Hydroshock cartridge case by Federal containing 20, or at least designed to contain 20 cartridges, labeled People's Exhibit 26.
Right, the black case and context of 26.
Thank you. I'll hand you People's 26 with its contents and ask you if you can identify the case and what's inside.
It appears to be the same case that I found in the vanity and the same boxes.
Can you open the cartridge box? It's labeled Hydroshock. Now, for the record, what did you remove from that cartridge box?
It's a ammunition holder containing 13 rounds of ammunition.
Designed to contain how many?
20.
There are 20 holes in that red plastic holder.
That's correct.
When is it in a different condition now than it was when you first seized it?
Yes.
How was it when you first seized it?
There were 2 more live rounds in it, as I remember.
So there were 5 live rounds and 5 that were missing?
There were 15 live rounds and 5 that were missing.
I stand corrected. Why don't you read some of the exhibit, please? Now, why don't you open up the American Eagle 50 cartridge box? And what do you find inside?
50 rounds of ammunition.
And are those in the same number and condition that they were when you found them?
They appear to be, yes.
Why don't you read some of that? Now I'm gonna, Your Honor, I have a placard with 2 1 by 14 color photographs showing the interior of a residence labeled People's Exhibit 31. Now maybe Detective, you can swivel around here a little bit and look at these 2 photographs labeled A and B. Are you familiar with what they depict?
Yes.
How was that?
The exhibits that I just looked at and what I found in the vanity.
Now, the both of them, A appears to be a farther away view, B a close-up view of the same particular cartridge box and case. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is this the way they appeared when you first laid eyes on the cartridge box?
No, the drawer was closed. When I opened the drawer, this case was closed. I opened the case to see what was in it, and then both boxes were closed, and I opened one of the boxes and photographed it.
And that would be the Hydroshocks?
Yes.
And the Hydroshocks as shown in the photograph, as opposed to the way they are now, are properly depicted as how they appear with 5 missing cartridges.
That's correct.
And that's photograph B we're talking about?
Yes.
Now, you're telling us that the cartridge box was on top of all these clothes that were in the open drawer?
That's correct.
The drawer was closed at that time?
That's correct.
What about the suitcase with the clothes that are open on the floor in front of the vanity? What was the condition of that?
I don't really remember that particular item.
It could have been closed or it could have been opened as part of your search?
Could have been. More than likely was opened by us.
Now, you said you went to the
a kitchen counter of Coyote Cielo, and you found some documents that you see?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, we have People's Exhibit 27, which contains an envelope on Walter Maund, M-A-U-N-D, attorney at law, stationery addressed to Elizabeth Broderick, canceled November 2nd, 1989. A 3-page letter on Daniel T. Broderick, stationery, signed by Kathleen Cafaro, and dated October 27, 1989. And another 1-page piece of stationery on Walter Maund's letterhead with certain indications on it. I would ask that these all be labeled People's Exhibit 27.
All right, the plastic casing and its contents are People's 27.
Thank you. Looking at People's 27, are you familiar with what's in that exhibit?
Yes, this is a letter that I found on the kitchen counter.
You're referring to the October 27th letter written by Kathleen Cafaro?
Actually, both of them.
Okay.
The one dated October 31st also.
And the envelope as well was found there? Your Honor, we have People's Exhibit 28, a plastic container, envelope actually, that contains a letter on Walter Maund's, or a form on Walter Maund's, stationery dated 11/2/89, a 2-page letter on Daniel T. Broderick's, stationery, signed by Kathleen Cafaro, dated November 1, 1989. I would ask that those be included as exhibit, People's Exhibit number 28.
So marked.
Are you familiar with that particular exhibit?
These appear to be other letters that were on the kitchen counter.
And seized at the same time?
Yes.
We now have People's Exhibit 29, a legal pad, numerous pages with pen writing on the top 3 pages and the third, fourth, and fifth pages being torn off roughly mid-page, labeled People's Exhibit 29.
And more accurately, it's 8.5 by 11 pad, isn't it?
That's correct.
Okay, so marked.
Are you familiar with People's Exhibit 29?
Yes, this was also on the kitchen counter.
And seized by yourself at the same time that you seized the other 2 exhibits?
That's correct.
Now, did you seize, well, Your Honor, I have People's Exhibit 38, a picture with some newsprint attached to it and a glass frame labeled People's Exhibit 30.
So marked.
Are you familiar with People's Exhibit 30?
Yes,
How was that?
I seized this also.
Where was that located?
As I stated, what I call a leisure or a retreat, which was southeast of the and kind of attached to the kitchen.
What was in this room besides this picture here?
There was a television set, books, a display cabinet with other pictures, mementos, family memento type thing.
And where in the room was that particular picture?
It was on the on display inside a display cabinet. It was not covered. It was out in open display with books and other family items.
Prominently displayed for anybody that might want to walk through that room and see it,
Yes,
along with other knickknacks.
yes.
Your Honor, I have a poster board with 4 8x10 color photographs showing the interior of what appears to be a kitchen, labeled People's Exhibit 32.
So marked.
Thank you. Are you familiar with what is depicted in People's Exhibit 32?
Yes, that's what the kitchen looked like when I arrived.
And does that fairly and accurately depict the kitchen and the countertop and the items on the countertop when you first entered the residence on that day to execute the search warrant?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Did you, on that same day, execute another search warrant?
Yes, I did.
Where was that executed?
It was on Morning Way in, I guess you would call it the, above the Claremont area.
Did that also have been La Jolla?
Upper La Jolla, yes.
And was this also by a search warrant that you entered that residence?
Yes, I did.
Would that have been 3133 Morning Way in La Jolla?
Yes, it is.
And who went with you with that, on that particular search?
Sergeant Calloway, Louis Rodriguez, detective, Richard Allen, a detective, and I believe that was all.
When you entered the residence with the search warrant, did you find anybody inside?
No, I did not.
And what did you do next?
We began searching the residence, starting with the floor that we entered on, proceeded to an upstairs bedroom area. I did not go upstairs. And then searched an area below the ground floor level, which is a parking or garage area.
Did you find anything there?
Which area?
In the carport area?
Yes.
What was that?
I'd have to look at my receipt and inventory to find out exactly what was found in that area.
You have that handy?
No, I don't.
Okay, maybe I do. Maybe if I showed you an object, it might refresh your memory. That might be possible.
Yes.
Judge is getting into the decanter. Didn't try to hide it.
Now I have a framed, appears to be an 8x10 photograph and a black bench frame showing a family studying People's Exhibit 33. So, thank you. Let me show you People's Exhibit 33. Does that jog your memory as to what you might have found in the carport?
I believe that was found amid some other items, several boxes in the carport area. The Jaguar and that looked like someone was moving in numerous boxes in the carport.
I noticed that there was a kind of a black magic marker X across the man's face. Was that the condition of the photograph when you seized it?
Yes, it was.
And just to go back for a second, the picture that you seized at Calle de Cielo, the newsprint, the most hated man in America, caught with his pants down, adjacent to the picture of the appears to be the same man. Was that also in the frame when you seized it?
Yes.
Now, did you seize any documentation from the Morning Way condominium?
Yes, we seized some letters and other correspondence from attorneys.
Where did you happen to find those?
Most of them were found on a, I guess, a window settee, which I assume is a dining area, although there was no furniture in it was on the east side of the ground floor level.
Here I have a plastic envelope containing a form on Walter Mann's letterhead dated 10/27/89, a photostat of a 3-page letter on Walter Mann's stationery dated October 27th, 1989, and these are contained in a plastic envelope labeled People's Exhibit 34.
So marked.
Thank you. Are you familiar with People's Exhibit 34?
This would appear to be one of the letters I found
And that would have been where, sir?
on the, I believe on the settee in the dining area.
Your Honor, we have a photostat of a 2-page court order, signature stamped Federico Castro, dated September 22nd, 1989, in case number D215518, regarding marriage of Daniel T. Broderick and Elizabeth A. Broderick.
Mark Peoples 35.
Thank you. Are you familiar with 35?
This also is one of the papers I seized.
On the settee or someplace inside the Morning Way?
I believe it was on the settee. However, I also seized some papers that were on the kitchen counter in that condominium, and I'm not sure where these were.
You're talking about the Morning Way condominium?
Morning Way, yes.
Your Honor, we have another document, photostat 2-page letter on Daniel T. Broderick's stationery dated September 19th, 1989. We have that marked People's Exhibit 36.
So marked.
Thank you. Let's take a look at that exhibit, People's 36.
This also is a paper that I seized.
Again, in the Morning Way.
In the Morning Way condominium, yes.
Lastly, Your Honor, we have a plastic envelope containing a 1-page Association of Attorney regarding notice of appeal, signed by Elizabeth A. Broderick and Herman Hosling. May that be marked People's Exhibit 37.
So marked.
Thank you. And now handing you People's 37.
Also a paper I seized from Morning Way.
Okay. Are there other items there that you did not seize?
Yes, there was.
What are we talking about when you say that?
Well, there were stacks and stacks of papers. I would say there was probably 4 or 5 stacks, anywhere from 3 to 6 to 8 inches tall.
Did you make an effort to go through these other items and see if there was anything of significance?
Yes, I did.
And did you choose anything from those stacks?
I chose what I felt was in the purview or scope of the search warrant.
In either the Calle de Cielo residence of the defendant or her condo at Morning Way, did you find anything that might pass as a suicide note?
No, I did not.
In either residence?
No, I did not.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Cross out.
Sir, when you went in and searched the Calle de Cielo home, you had a camera, is that correct?
Richard Allen had a camera.
Okay. And were you in separate rooms or were you searching together?
We searched within the same room at the same time.
Okay. And when you opened the drawer, you found, obviously, there wasn't much doubt that these bullets, were they both inside the black case?
The boxes?
Yes.
Yes, they were.
Okay. So when you opened the drawer, the only thing you saw was the black case and the bullets were concealed within that black case. Did you notice right away that was it apparent that it appeared to be a gun case?
To me, it appeared to be a gun case.
Okay. And so did you call Detective Allen and say, we better get a picture here to show exactly how I found it when I first opened the drawer?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So we don't while you have pictures of how it became later, you have no pictures of how you found it when you first saw it.
No, I do not.
And you knew that you were looking for a gun, didn't you?
No,
Argumentative.
Overruled. And I'm sorry.
Answer stands, said no.
All right. You knew a gun had been used.
yes,
You know? And so you know that you were looking for evidence associated with the gun. Is that correct?
yes, I did.
Okay. And so I take it as soon as you saw a gun case, you realized that this may be evidence in this case.
Yes,
The time that you found the at Calle de Cielo, you see some items that off of the counter, and this would be the counter that's represented in People's 32, A, B, C, and D.
yes.
Okay. And did you see all of those items?
Did I seize everything that was on the counter?
All the paper items?
All the paper items I felt was pertinent, yes.
Okay. Were there legal items that you did not take?
I don't remember if there were any legal items. I know there were other papers.
Okay. And are you able to see in those pictures where these were the items that I'm picking up now that were found in Calle de Cielo? Is that correct? Okay. Are you able to see these items in these pictures?
I don't know. I can try.
Okay. The notepad, were you able to see that in the picture?
Yes.
Your Honor, what I would ask the witness, bring the photograph around so we can all see it as close enough. Thank you.
Were you able to see the notepad in the picture?
Yes.
Okay. And the notepad is open to a page, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are you able to see there's a cover sheet and, or there's a sheet of paper with Walter Mond's name on the top, and then underneath it in this envelope is something with Dan and Betty Broderick. Do you know whether you're able to see that in the?
I can't specifically pick that out. These papers are all covered in the jumble.
Okay, it might have been, and it might have been in the middle of the stack or the bottom of the stack.
Very possible.
Okay. Were these paper clipped? Okay, let me finish here so you can put it down, sir. And there's another one in here that is Walter Mond 1031, and underneath it, at least in here, is something with Daniel Broderick.
Yes.
Do you know whether you can see that in there, or again, is it?
I can't pick it out specifically. No.
Okay. Now, the pieces of paperwork that are here, and we'll look at first at People's 28 for identification. Were all these three pieces, there's appears to be three pieces of paper, were they all stapled together when you first found them?
To my knowledge, at least I did not remove any staples. If they were stapled, they would have still been stapled unless they were unstapled by someone else.
Okay. So you don't know how specifically how these might have become unstapled?
No.
Okay. You remember specifically these two being together?
No.
Okay. The do you remember whether these were in an envelope or out of an envelope?
I believe everything was out of an envelope.
Okay. So you don't have any memory now of an envelope being associated with these?
Only that there was envelopes on the counter.
Okay. I take it that, okay, going to people 27, again, there seems to be just a normal cover letter saying enclosed, please find a letter from someone else. That's what that appears to be.
Yes.
Okay, and it indicates a letter from Kathleen Cafaro, and underneath that is a letter from Kathleen, signed by Kathleen Cafaro.
Yes.
Okay, so this appears to be a 3-page letter with a cover sheet, is that correct?
That's correct.
You don't know whether these were stapled together?
No.
Okay. And the envelope, there's an envelope that's dated, as the district attorney pointed out, 11/2/89. That's at least a postmark on it. Do you know whether this envelope, whether these things were in the envelope?
No. What I did, when I picked things up, those items that were in a very close proximity to each other were put in separate envelopes, like they were separated or paper clipped together.
Okay.
But I have no knowledge whether they particularly went to a specific envelope.
Do you know whether this envelope was stapled? It appears to have two staple holes in it. Is that correct, this envelope?
It appears to have a staple hole in it.
One here and one here.
All right, I can't see that one.
Okay. Do you know whether this was in fact stapled to either one of these items?
No, I don't.
Okay. And I take it that you don't have any notes now that can reconstruct it?
No.
And is this the way that you seized it, these kind of envelopes?
No, we did not have these plastic envelopes. When we seized it, we either paper clipped it and put it in a paper bag as to room
Now,
location.
are these the only items that you seized from Cali de CAO, or you're not?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so there may have been other items that you seized, but whatever you seized came from that counter area?
As far as paperwork is concerned,
Yes.
yes, I believe so.
Okay. Was there other legal paperwork in that residence?
I don't believe I saw any other legal paperwork in the residence at Calle de Cielo.
Do you remember going into any of the rooms where there was a box, appeared to be a legal box with lots of papers in it?
I went into all of the rooms that I could go into within the main household.
Okay, and you don't remember seeing any kind of paperwork in any kind of legal box, like a storage box, the kind that you see people keeping legal papers in?
I don't remember seeing one.
And were the rooms that appeared to be empty, as if someone was moving out at all, or do you recall that?
I don't recall it appearing that they were moving out. I do remember the house appeared to be in disarray to me. There were boxes, clothing strewn about. The house just appeared to have been very unkempt.
Did you take pictures of each room in the house?
We took pictures, I believe, of only those areas where we seized something.
So the only areas that you know you took pictures of are the dresser, where you found the gun case. Did you take a picture of where you found the picture?
Yes.
And you took a picture of the countertop.
Yes.
Now, you sometime later went and did a search warrant at Morning Way, is that correct?
That's correct.
And how did Morning Way appear? Did it appear to be that somebody was living there full-time, furniture in every room?
No, it appeared someone was moving in or out.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that there were some boxes that appeared that were there were items that were in boxes, not
Yes,
put away?
yes.
When you were in Morning Way, did you notice you see some items there, did you?
Yes.
Did you take pictures of the areas where you seized items?
As I remember, I don't believe there were pictures taken. I may be wrong, since I wasn't taking the photographs.
So on that time, when you went looking for evidence, you did not take a camera with you that you can recall, or you don't recall?
I don't recall
Okay.
pictures being taken.
And you showed us some letters, and this is again, number 37, number 36, number 35, and number 34. These you recall seizing from one area or another at Morning Way?
Yes.
And you're not certain what area they were taken from?
I'm not certain whether those were taken from what I call the settee or from the kitchen.
Okay. And where was the settee located?
It's located on the east side of the condo, approximately one step above the kitchen. It's a step-up dining area, I believe, and this is adjoining the dining area.
Okay, so there would be some kind of counter in between the kitchen and the dining area?
There's a countertop separating the kitchen and dining area.
Okay, and there were some papers on the settee in that area?
Yes,
And was the papers that were in the kitchen, were they on that countertop that separated those two?
yes, I believe they were
And how far would they be from each other?
6 to 8 feet.
Okay. And do you, at that time, did you see some other items that were also there, did you not?
Sees this photograph.
Okay. And did you see some other paperwork?
There was other paperwork that apparently hasn't been brought out.
I'm sure it's just interference on the microphone getting there. But every once in a while, it sounds like somebody's getting in the chair. Or maybe that's because my brain is fried right now. I don't know. We have not very much longer. We can do it. We can do it. You've been getting $10. Grandma can't afford you. I don't know, Puddletown. I don't think I'd put that challenge out there.
Now, there was some other items besides the ones that you've been shown at the, at the Morningside that you also took, is that correct?
Morning Way?
Morning Way, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. And showing you,
BC.
I'm just not very trainable with that.
I'm trying.
I'll remember the last day. I'll be trained by tomorrow.
Promises, promises.
The showing you C4 identification. You recognize this bag as, have you ever seen this bag before?
Well, it's getting more tattered each time I see it. Yes, it's the bag that I initialed on October 22nd, 1990.
Okay, and could you just quickly look inside and tell me if that just appears to be additional paperwork that you found?
Just for the record, defendant C is a brown paper bag and containing paperwork. Right.
Yes, I remember seizing this.
And was that
Just because I'm slow on the uptake sometimes, it just occurred to me that they're all sitting on her side of the courtroom. I understand why Lee is there. I think Lee is still very supportive of her. I don't think the other daughter is. But I don't know. Also, it's not like this cameraman is hidden and they know when he's pointing the camera at them. They keep looking at it, which would be really uncomfortable.
that, do you remember where in relationship that was seized to the other paper that you've already identified from Morning Way, or is that just been divided up that way?
Well, I would like to say this is on the settee, as I remember. But there were several stacks of papers there.
I don't know what she was doing for me because I felt bad for her. Like, hey, lady, the camera's over there. Your sister didn't really tell you that the camera was on you, but I think she was maybe chewing on her. Well, I was going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she was chewing on her fingernail, but there wasn't really any chewing going on. So I don't know what she was doing. But good to see you, Bri.
Okay. Do you remember that the other papers coming out of the bag too? The time of when you first identified these papers at a prior hearing, that they also came out of this bag?
I believe they did.
Okay. So you didn't have two bags, divide them up, you just took from those two areas paperwork and put them in one bag, as best as you can remember?
As I remember, I want to go back because it would have been normal procedure to put some in a bag from the kitchen and some in a bag from another location. It's not normal, and I normally don't put them all in one bag, so I don't know.
The, you indicated you found a picture in the garage.
Yes,
You were in the garage, that was in a box.
it was in amongst other items. There were several boxes in the garage. It was found in there.
Do you know what were in the other items that were in the box?
It just appeared to be items that had been packed for moving,
Okay,
household items, etc.
okay, so there were other household items there, paperwork, you remember? What was in that box, if you can just remember?
Paperwork, I don't remember specifically.
Okay, that's right. The, and you didn't take a picture at that time of that?
No.
When you were at Morning Way, did you search anything else there besides the garage and the apartment?
No, I did not go upstairs. I searched the ground floor level and I went down into the garage.
And was there a car located there?
It was a Jaguar convertible, I believe, red. Or I strike that, I don't know the color.
And at any time, either residence, did you see a truck,
No, I did not.
a Suburban?
No, I did not.
And so you've not done any search of any Suburban?
I didn't see a Suburban at either residence,
Okay, and you didn't do a search of the Suburban involved in this case?
not at that time.
Did you do one at some other time?
Yes.
I believe that's beyond the scope, so I'll go into that at some other time.
Yes. Would this be a good time to take our recess material?
Yes, right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our afternoon recess at this time. Please remember the admonition not to discuss the case among yourselves nor anyone else discuss it with you, nor form any opinions till
I will not. I will not discuss it with anybody because StreamYard's being weird. Sorry if that was like buffering or anything at the end. I wasn't buffering on StreamYard, but the feed, the Court TV thing was buffering. I don't know. It's tired. That's what's happening. I figured Flashman would tell me if I was buffering. He didn't. But then he's also talking about food, so he was a little distracted, so I don't know. It's not 10. It's only 9:15. Oh my goodness. But thanks anyway, Flashman. I was good. Thank you. Everything was running. It was StreamYard. Like it wasn't Court TV. Everything was running normally except for Court TV in StreamYard. And it kind of went down earlier tonight too. And I kept waiting for Flashman to say, "You're buffering." And it never did. So I was like, okay, I'm good. Yay, look at me. I was going to make a joke, but I won't because I'm too tired. And that's what happens. And I may have Madison at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, so I got to get to bed. Yes, it is way past my bedtime. I know. Look at me. Look at me being a big kid. It is. It's a late night for me, Flashman. You are correct. And yep. That's it. That's all I got. I will promise I will not be here tomorrow. Tomorrow is dinner with my dad and my brother. So I will be back. If I can talk, that's be great. I'm tired. I will be back Thursday. We do have the medical examiner on Thursday. I don't think he's the whole time. I hope he's not the whole time, because if paint made a sound when it dried, that's him. That's about how much effort he puts into speaking and having a personality. I'm sure he's a nice fella, but yeah. I don't know, Flashman. I did not see the end of Read today. So I have no idea. Oh, so Shani, every other Wednesday, my husband and I, we go out to dinner with my dad and my brother. It's just something we've done for years. And tomorrow is our Wednesday to go to dinner. So that's what I will be doing tomorrow night. But I'll be here Thursday. Thursday. No, tomorrow is Wednesday. Today was Tuesday. I don't have the answer, Haley. I don't know. I do not have an answer. But I do know this answer. I'm going to go. My camera, too. It's been weird. Everything's been weird. I don't know what's happening. Maybe my stuff is like, don't go this late. You don't remember yesterday at all? Flashman, don't confuse her anymore. Shani, I wake up every morning and have to ask myself what day it is. Not even kidding. And I generally think it's Friday every day of the week. And then I'm just disappointed. There you go. I knew Gabby'd come in to the rescue. Somebody will be doing something. Stop running from the room screaming. You'll be all right. Never and ever is that ever gonna happen. Absolutely not. I don't like heights, and I don't really want to be on the end of something that could snap and then I just die. Just me. Yep. Nope. It was not Monday. I hope your Wednesday's good, because you got through Tuesday and you didn't even know it. Yeah, well, it's almost 4 hours in. I don't think they care right now. Sorry, Puddleton. All right, guys. I'm going to go. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been a long night. I am glad that we kind of stuck it. We hung in there. I need to go to bed. And got through this day so that we can be closer. Thanks for coming and joining us, Adair. Yes, I am going to go to sleep. I will try to do that. I will try to do that, Sir Frank. I know. I'm glad I didn't say it earlier in the stream. Good night, Shani. Enjoy your Wednesday. You already through today. I will see you guys all back Thursday. Just don't say that on me. I'll see you guys all on Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Good. My brain is shutting down.
we will get on with the medical examiner's riveting testimony, and there will be plenty of pictures that will have plenty of graphic warning content displayed underneath them. So be ready. So enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your Wednesday. And I will see you guys all back on Thursday. So, Shani, when you see me again, it will be Thursday. All right, see you.